You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy. And how the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this final Thursday of April? And you know what that means. Football.
Last big football weekend until football actually starts.
I'm with you. Because you and I got off the preseason football train a long time ago. You know, August is kind of like spring training baseball. Baseball's here. No, no. It's just owners cashing a bunch of checks for a month, and there's not much going on. You know, preseason football is here. Yeah, then no jobs are available.
Right. The only thing that matters, we've said it for years, are injuries. So you pay attention to that and you move on. But this weekend, David.
Here we go.
Oh, boy.
Here we go. Give me some sauce, as in Gardner.
Oh, I was going to say some buffalo wing sauce that I might have while I'm doing it.
Our Twitch draft special, a little less than 14 hours from now, and we go until they're done. They want to get this over quickly, that's fine. We've got a morning show. We'll go right to bed. They want to drag this sucker out, that's fine. We can eat and drink with the best of them.
Right. We got a morning show. We'll stay up. It doesn't matter to us. This is all in.
We're hockey fans. We're used to double, triple overtime in the playoffs. Let's go.
In fact, this is a test run for David and I to get ready for round one of the playoffs when there's a double overtime game and one of us texting the other going, "You're still up, right? You in?"
Yep.
I'm in.
That could be a poll question on Monday. Hockey playoffs will be underway beginning on Monday, and just ask the question, all right, when it goes to overtime, you in? Yes, sir. If you're in, by the way, you're in. Miller and Moulton on this fine Thursday. I'm fired up. I am, because, well, let's face it, this is the first time in 7-8 years we really don't know who's going number one. I mean, we don't know.
We don't know who's going number one, and if Hutchinson goes number one, we don't know what happens after that.
I mean, we think that DNs are going 1 and 2, and the draft starts with Houston at 3, but there's word that if the Lions don't get Hutchinson, they can do all sorts of things. I am hoping the experts are wrong tonight. I am hoping this is not a draft in which people can sit tight and get what they want. My hope is that with the impact that young wide receivers have had in the last couple of years, that teams get aggressive in trading up, even if it's just moving up 3 spots for a guy, 6 spots for a guy. If you've got 2 first-round picks and you're some of the teams in the middle of this draft who have a lot of draft picks, I mean, if you're the Eagles, how do you get beat for a guy tonight? You got picks. I mean, you should be able to maneuver your way up and get the guys you want when you want them.
And with a Carolina at 13, Carolina at 6, rather, a Houston at 13, there are teams there that are definite trading partners for you if you want to move up. There are teams, Detroit at the end of the draft at 32. They're without a 4th and a 5th. There are plenty of teams who have holes in their draft that are available trade partners if you want to make something happen today. The question just is, will teams want to make something happen? I mean, it's not Saturday night, David. It's only Thursday.
Nick Caserio, the GM in Houston, was asked odds of trading the 3rd overall pick. He said 1%. Odds of trading out at 13. He said 60 to 70%. Now, there you go.
That's what we're talking about.
All right. And you wonder if with Carolina, their owner came out yesterday. Very interesting press conference, by the way. David Tepper, the grand poobah there with the Panthers, said nothing but great things about his coach and his quarterback. I mean, the media was like looking around at one another like, does he know what team he owns? But then wouldn't, and he said, I'm here to only talk football, and then wouldn't answer any football questions, kept saying, well, you got to ask the general manager. but he said, the coach and things are going to be better. Absolutely. We're in step and we're going forward, and I'm happy with who we have.
And I've run out of cliches, so I'm now going to end this press conference.
And I really don't know why they talked me into doing this. But if I'm Carolina, I'm trading out. I got 6 picks. I got 6 and 137. There seems to be a lot going on in between 6 and 137.
And this draft, no different than any other. There's 16 to 20 guys that have first-round grades.
So, there's got to be somebody there willing to give up a second and or a third and trade up. I mean, kept harping on that Eagles team. I mean, they got 51. They got 2/3, 3/5. I mean, there's got to be something we can do here, right? I mean, the New Orleans guy, he's got no problem trading away future draft picks. I mean, him and the Rams, they're always good for a deal. I will say the Dolphins don't pick till 102, but the Rams don't pick till 104. I mean, you got to give it up to them. Hey, they won the Super Bowl, baby. Dolphins have 4 picks in the draft. 4 picks. That's it.
It's all right. They got Tyreek Hill. That was worth a bunch of them.
Well, you hope. It's been a fascinating last 3 years. The tank, the teardown, the acquiring of picks, the using of picks, then the giving away of picks. I mean, they've been a pretty interesting team, and they've won, but not enough.
Interesting is the right word. I mean, they have at least, David, they've given us a lot of years where they were not very interesting. They've never given us years where they were really good as we've been doing this as a business.
No, they haven't.
But they've now finally given us some interesting.
It is odd, though, for it to be a draft and that have the Dolphins not be a factor in it. Because either they've been really bad and had high picks, and so you were wondering what they were going to do. In a couple instances in the last 10 years, would they go quarterback, blah, blah, blah. Then the years they had 3 first-round picks, multiple first-round picks. And this year, in fact, we're going to let some of the people in the office handle the picks.
We feel like we've messed this up a little bit. Why don't we trade some?
I mean, we got 102, 125, and then we got 2 picks in the 220s. And to be honest with you, we're just going to let a couple people in the office handle 224 and 227. It was part of like an employee contest that we had. The employee of the month in March got to pick 224, and the employee of the month for April got to pick 227.
And then you look at a team like the Ravens, David, who just, you don't notice a lot. But what do they have in the middle of the draft? 6 picks in rounds 3 and 4.
5 fourth-round picks. 5.
Or I'm sorry, 7 picks in round 3 and 4.
All right, 2/3 and 5 fourths. Which is another reason why if you're Baltimore at 14, do you really get beat on a guy? I mean, it's a simple one. Washington's at 11. They got 6 draft picks. Baltimore's at 14. They got the 7th, 3rd, and 4th-round picks. By the way, the Redskins don't have a 3rd-round pick. I'm sorry. Commanders. First quarter in the jar.
Nice job. Because I didn't even catch you. You got me in draft talk between Washington and Baltimore, and I was so engrossed I let the Redskins slip.
But you would think Baltimore, Washington right there. Baltimore's got the 2/3 and the 5 fourths. Washington doesn't have a 3rd nor a 5th. You would think that Baltimore and Washington could flip-flop, and Baltimore could guarantee to get Jordan Davis and move up to 11 to do it. Just saying. That's the type of stuff. That's, I think, as sexy as this draft's going to get.
And, it's interesting with Washington because Houston's got a couple of 4ths, a couple of 3rds. They want to go up to 11. They could battle with Baltimore to get that spot, just going up 2 spots. So there's a lot of that's there. And we just hope it delivers in the first round because I guarantee you it's going to start happening on Friday. I just don't know whether or not you'll see how bold teams will be tonight. Particularly in the last half of the first round, where most of these teams don't think the guys have first-round grades.
Always interesting. I try not to read mock drafts before this week. And then it is interesting to me to read mock drafts that are done in the 48 hours leading up to the draft, in which basically those that cover the NFL for a living are putting their names on their sources. There's best information guy I got from such and such says they want to do this. Oh, okay. Like Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network. He released his mock draft last night, dinner time. And he's got a major run on wide receivers starting early. Remember, we talked last week, could this be a draft in which we don't have a skill player taken in the top 10? And he has 3 wide receivers going in the top 9, in which he's like, trust me, the impact in recent years of young wide receivers and teams that have young quarterbacks and get them weapons, and like he's got the Jets taking a wide receiver.
Which would make a ton of sense. You and I have talked about this. Why do you go out and get Debo when you can draft a receiver for your quarterback, not have to pay him all this money, and find out if what you have there?
He's got Atlanta taking a quarterback. And he's got, I think, Philadelphia trading up to Carolina at 6 and taking a wide receiver. I said quarterback, I meant wide receiver. So he's got wide receivers going at 6, 8, and 9 in his last mock draft.
That gets a little sexy.
And that would also have everybody going, what the hell's going on here? And we have had multiple people say, when the run on wide receivers starts, look out. That if it goes later, that's what more teams would prefer to have happen. All the linemen go in the top 10. But we'll see. And then when does the first quarterback go, and who is the first quarterback taken? We will do a semi-mock draft. We will do it in fits and spurts throughout the show. Miller and Moulton. The draft is here, baby. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh my gosh, Coach Fly had another baby. Congrats.
Yesterday. Tuesday.
That's awesome.
Another boy. Big one. Both of them were like 8.5 pounds.
Damn. That's a front court right there. Coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. We did not speak to one another during that entire commercial break. We were both doing draft prep work. It's like we're in our own war room.
Felt like it. It was great.
Didn't even look at one another. Both had our heads down. Those that are watching on Twitch are like, hey, the reason we watch is for what happens during the commercial breaks. We just see the two of you with your foreheads down. I am listing all the potential guys that I think could go in the first round. I've got 40 plus guys down on a piece of paper. That's trying to cover my bases.
Makes sense. The list that I have in front of me, and I looked at a bunch, but I print out a couple of things. When you find that they're, particularly a list I have, Kenny Pickett's the highest ranked quarterback by this guy. And he's only 2 spots ahead of Willis, but they're 30 and 32. First running back's 35. Would someone come late in the first round and grab either the Iowa State or Michigan State kid? And Pat's guy that he was raving about yesterday, Perrion Winfrey, ranked 53rd. So if this guy who's ranked 53rd goes on day three, Pat's right. Somebody screwed up.
Miller and Moulton on this Draft Thursday. Thanks so much for being with us. There are a few other things that are going on in the sports world, though, believe it or not.
Whatever.
There were a couple reports last night, though, that the Jags are going Trayvon Walker at 1, even though the owner wants Hutchinson.
Bulky can survive damn near anything, it seems, doesn't it?
Well, hey. All right. Do you think an owner should stick their nose in who the team should be drafting?
No, but when I'm the owner of the team, that means I'm worth billions. I can do whatever the hell I want.
Well, we know that. And there's obviously the train of thought of, well, what do you mean the owner who spent billions for the franchise doesn't get to chime in on who it is that he would like to see taken? But let's face it, these owners, they don't know anything about football.
And one of the biggest mistakes they make is trying to get involved in something they don't know anything about. They've made their living trusting people to know something.
Or they may know something about where it is they made their money, and you're used to them actually leading the meetings. But, I mean, come on. I mean, Mr. Khan, I think you've proven over the last 10 years you don't know a damn thing about football.
And you can't hire anybody that knows anything about football. That's the other problem.
So don't you think you should sit this out? But reportedly, Mr. Khan wants Hutchinson, and Trent Baalke has said, listen, you did not fire me when others told you to do so, and since I'm still in charge here, I'm going Trayvon Walker. That's what was reported last night. First place I saw it was the 33rdteam.com, Michael Shoddy with the report. So, all right. And then one would think the Lions do the happy dance. They go with Hutchinson, and the draft starts with the Texans at 3. And do they go offensive line? Do they go Gardner and, Jets, Giants, and so forth?
But pick 3 is where we think things will get rolling because we don't know what Houston's going to do.
Nope. I mean, if you're Houston, you got to figure it's going DN. But you've done mock drafts, obviously, in which things have gone in other directions. But Milwaukee took care of Chicago last night. They won and covered. We got that one right. Golden State eliminated Denver. They did not cover, however. In fact,
they did not.
They had to come from behind in the fourth just to win. And we got 3 NBA playoff games tonight in which all the home teams are down 3-2 and need to win to stay alive. And they're all dogs. Now, it's all really small. I mean, in fact, I think the biggest point spread is 2. But the Raptors, the Pelicans, and the Jazz are all somewhere between pick'em and +2 tonight while facing elimination.
Haven't given enough thought yet to tell you which home team's going to win.
No, I know. We're all immersed in this other thing.
If I root for one, it's for Toronto because I really want to see a Game 7 in Philadelphia. I want to see that pressure on the Sixers.
You know, Doc Rivers, I'll give him credit yesterday because first off, the media, I mean, it's the Philly media. They're not going to back away from this. And they said, hey, you know, you've been head coach at 3 teams that have been up 3-1 and lost, and now here you are 3-0 and it's 3-2. And he said, listen, it's fair game. I get it. But I really wish you guys would put it in context. And he said, come on now. If you're going to be fair, he said the first time that I was with the team and we blew a 3-1 lead, we were an 8 seed. And we were going up against, obviously, the 1 seed, the Pistons, who, by the way, won the championship that year. And he said, take a look at the roster. And if you take a look at the 2 rosters and you realize that the 8 seed was actually up 3-1 in that series, you'd go, wow, he must have done a pretty good job of coaching. He goes, but you're right. We were up 3-1 and we lost. And then he brought up the second time it was with the Clippers, and he said, yeah, Chris Paul didn't play in 3 of the games in the series, and when he did play, he was on 1 leg. He goes, but, yep, we were up 3-1 and we lost, even though I think the other team, because of the circumstances, was the better team. He goes, now the last one, put that one on me. He goes, no, we were in the bubble. He said, so we had home court, and we didn't have home court in the bubble. So we weren't playing at home in games 5 and 7. He goes, but listen, we blew that. We were the better team, in my opinion. We blew it. You want to put that one on me? That's fine. He goes, but if you're going to, you know, he goes, hey, facts are facts. But come on now, not all facts are the same. And I think that's fair.
I think it's fair defending himself. I do. Still 3 times that it happened.
I know. And there's no coach who's been up 3-1 3 times and lost. I know. 2 of the 3 with the Clippers, though, which also just shows how star-crossed that franchise is.
But if it happens this year, oh, boy.
Well, it happens this year. I mean, this is 3 spit.
This is 3 spit.
There's only 4 times in history that a team down 0-3 is even forced a Game 7 in the NBA. No NBA team has come back from 3-0-1. And I don't think any of the 3 of us think Toronto's going to win the series, right?
But I would like to see how much pressure can be put on Philadelphia.
I think Philly wins tonight.
I do too.
And I expect Harden, since he was kind of sort of called out by Embiid, I expect Harden to have a 30-point game tonight.
Well, thank goodness the game's in Toronto, not Montreal. Felipe, Montreal may have the best strip joints in the world.
Right. I figure Harden could really get distracted, and then he could get detained afterwards.
That would make sense now. There you go. I was very confused by that.
I could see it. And since you're confused, maybe other members of our audience are. But the ballet in Montreal, spectacular.
And
So I've heard.
Yeah. James
Right.
Harden.
So you've heard.
So I've heard.
Right. Just, you know, word has spread over the years.
I've spent a lot of time working in hockey.
Miller and Moulton on this draft Thursday. The starting 5 is coming up. And then we will do a very casual mock draft in and around, checking in Jacksonville, checking in Atlanta, you know, just a casual mock draft.
Might not even go back and forth. We might even be co-GMs for this draft.
Yeah. You know, who would you take? Oh, I'd take so-and-so. Oh, okay. You know, now let's move on. Miller and Moulton. Starting 5 is next. Thanks for waking up with us here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Thank you.
Yeah, listen, I'm not saying this just as a Mets fan. Who was it? Was it Arenado or Goldschmidt? Whoever it was, I thought he overreacted. I didn't even think that pitch was close to him. I mean, it was up, around his shoulder, but I didn't think it was inside much at all. It's kind of like the famous A-Rod Veritek fight in which Manny freaked out at a pitch that was up from Clemens, but the pitch wasn't in. The pitch was up. Yeah, I thought Arenado overreacted because there was a lot of jawing going on because the Mets got hit twice again. I got to admit, though, I think it's rich anytime the Cardinals get pissed off about teams throwing inside. Because going back to La Russa, I mean, the Cardinals have been throwing at people for 25 years.
At least.
So I do think it's rich when the Cardinals get bent out of shape. And when Buck Showalter said, listen, my guy got hit in the head the day before and he walked to first. Arenado had a pitch that he thought was a little too up and in, and he charged the mound. Come on. And you guys hit 5 Mets in 2.5 games before that pitch went up and in on Arenado, and I didn't even think it was all that in. I think if you're an owner picking in the top 5, proving you cannot hire personnel, what's wrong trying to handpick players? Well,
there's always that, DC.
Yeah, I guess. Wow. 0-2 pitch. It gets hit out for a slam. Damn. What kind of defense is that?
By a fat guy in right field.
I know. God, was that softball?
Holy cow, he got turned around.
It was the Mets pitcher who they acquired from the A's. That's the one Tuesday night came out and he said, listen, this is not Major League Baseball. The baseball suck, he said. And because of the humidifiers at all the ballparks now, and he goes, you can have baseball in the 3rd inning be one way and a baseball in the 4th inning be a different way. And he said the baseball suck. Major League Baseball knows it. We don't think they care. Baseball went, whoa, we care. You know, Showalter, I thought, made an interesting point earlier in the season. He said, hold on a second. So we let the batters use all sorts of pine tar and stuff so they can get a better grip on the bat, but we don't allow the pitchers to put a little something on their fingers so they can get a little better grip of the ball.
Well, a little better grip and being able to make it drop off the face of the earth is a little different thing.
I understand, but I mean, you know, the point of, he goes, so we don't let them put anything? He goes, I don't know. I would think it would be more important for the pitchers to be able to grip the ball correctly. But yeah, Mets have been hit 19 times. And basically once a game they're getting hit. Also had 3 guys hit in the head. Alonso twice. Well, you know what pissed Alonso off yesterday? So Arenado charges the mound. So Alonso, all right, runs in. The first base coach from the Cardinals kind of bull dragged him down from behind and would not let go. And Alonso was like, dude, no, you can't get involved in this. Never mind from behind. He goes, I don't know who's on me. You know, I don't know if it's a 25-year-old player who I can punch or a 60-year-old man who, if I punch, you know, everybody's going to, he's like, you can't, you know, drag me down like a bull.
Here we go.
Rules of the bench brawl.
I guess so.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll head to Atlanta 1 hour from now. Mark Zinno will join us. Falcons in an interesting spot at 8. And they're also in an interesting spot in their franchise's history. Do you stay? Do you dare take a quarterback? Do you trade out? How far down you want to go? What are you thinking? So we'll talk to Mark Zinno an hour from now about the Falcons in an interesting spot at 8.
2 2s, 2 3s, 2 6s. No 7th round pick for the Falcons.
And potentially when they're picking, Mark, no skill player will have yet been taken. So what do you do? Obviously, they traded away Matt Ryan, picked up Marcus Mariota, who everyone thinks is a placeholder.
They've lost receivers. 1 to free agency, 1 to idiocy.
I.e. gambling on the NFL. We'll also talk with Roy Cummings. Can the Bucs get a plug-and-play starter on the offensive line or defensive line? You know, still no JPP and no Sue back in the fold. You know, still down a offensive lineman. Interior, they're at 27.
And the guard from BC, the center, maybe.
The guard from Texas A&M. I mean, it's going to be close at 27. Or the Bucs maybe going to have to maneuver. Get ahead of Dallas potentially at 24, who's a prime candidate to take an interior lineman. So we'll talk to Roy Cummings in our 8 o'clock hour. And we will head to Jacksonville 2 hours from now. JP Shadrick. He's done all sorts of mock drafts, live shows, interviewed the coach, the GM, the owner. What are
they
Jags
extended the
do?
tackle. Does that mean they're going to, which D end are they taking? You and I would still take a tackle.
Yes, because I would not have extended Cam Robinson. He's got $18 million a year now for the next 3 years. He grades out as no better than average for whatever the whole, PFF and other ways of grading players out as. But he grades out as an average tackle. Is that really somebody that you want to invest long-term, fairly big money in? They decided, yeah. Okay. Quite frankly, I hope he gets better.
Yeah, and I would imagine the third year they could get out of, I don't know if it's 3 years, 54, it's 2 years.
36.
I mean, that's what I would guess. So I don't consider that a long-term investment. They would have done 5 for,
100
for 90 or something like that, David. 5 for 100. Then that's long-term because then you're not getting out for at least 3. So I get your point, but I don't think it's necessarily long-term, and it still wouldn't prevent me from drafting a tackle. That's the most important thing, I guess, the way I look at it.
19 minutes before the hour. Time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
8 o'clock tonight. The NFL draft. First pick around 8:15, 8:20. Miller and Moulton with a live Twitch broadcast beginning at 7:45. There will be eating, there will be drinking, but there will be a lot of draft analysis and your comments in the Twitch chat room, the Miller and Moulton Twitch channel. Check it out, and please, whatever you do, follow us.
There might even be ice cream.
Oh, I think that's a guarantee. I think the bet is the over-under on when the ice cream gets broken out. Will it actually be there when it starts?
That's what I'm thinking. Thinking about opening up with ice cream.
Michael Shoddy of the 33rd team reporting the Jags will take Trayvon Walker, number 1 overall. 8 teams with multiple first-round picks. The Jags at number 1, the Bucs at 27. The Dolphins' first pick is a supplemental pick at the end of the 3rd round, number 102. Jags, by the way, as we just talked about, signed Cam Robinson. 3-year extension that begins immediately at $18 million a year. NBA playoffs last night. Milwaukee eliminated the Bulls, 116-100 to win that series in 5. Giannis at 33. They led by 16 after the first quarter. This thing was over. Started at 7:30. It was over by 8. Game 1, by the way, Milwaukee at Boston Sunday. Remember last year in the second round, Milwaukee had to go through Brooklyn. This year it's Milwaukee, the defending champs, and Boston. Celtics with home court because of the last game of the regular season. Sunday, game 1 in Beantown. Golden State eliminated Denver in 5. It was tough, though. Tied at the half. Nuggets led by 8 going to the 4th. Curry, who got the start for the first time, scored 30 key shots down the stretch. Warriors 102-98. Denver and all their injuries go home in 5. Toronto, New Orleans, and Utah all hosting game 6s tonight. All need to win to stay alive. All are very small underdogs. Utah by a point, New Orleans by 2, Toronto by 1.5. I'll go 3 road favorites tonight.
Okay.
Donovan Mitchell, by the way, will play for Utah. Remember, he kind of
right.
came up lame with 5 minutes to go in game 5. So he says he's
one
playing.
of them's going to win. I'll figure out who it is later.
Okay.
There'll be one game 7.
NHL, Dallas lost in overtime to Arizona. Dallas needed to win their last 2, or actually Dallas only needed a point. My bad. I was thinking of Vegas. Dallas, by getting to overtime against Arizona, clinched the playoff spot at Las Vegas's expense, and that's okay. Vegas lost in a shootout, and they needed to win their last 2. So Dallas and Nashville are the 2 wild card teams in the Western Conference. Right now, Dallas is a point ahead of Nashville, and Nashville's starting goalie got hurt.
And Vegas misses the playoffs for the first time in their existence.
Right. What is this, year 6?
5. That's really impressive.
Yeah, it is. It's St. Louis Blues-esque. When the Blues first started, they went to the finals their first 3 years. But
difference was they were all in the same division. Some teams had to go to the playoffs.
Right. Kings, by the way, who will face Edmonton in the first round. Edmonton will have home ice. Kings beat Seattle 5-3. Rangers didn't play any of their regulars, lost to Montreal 4-3. Winnipeg shut out Philly 4-0. Tampa's in Columbus tonight. The Lightning need another point to make sure they're not a wild card, And they need to win out and have Toronto lose out to have home ice in the first-round series. So Tampa Bay is likely a 3 seed going to Toronto. But Tampa's at Columbus, and the Panthers, who need 1 point to clinch the President's Trophy, they're at Ottawa tonight. Major League Baseball, Kiermaier, another home run. 2-run shot, and it was the difference. Rays over the Mariners 3-2. Marlins have won 4 in a row. Pablo Lopez's ERA is .39, by the way.
It's pretty good.
Miami's got the pitching of not just a playoff team. Miami has the pitching of a team that could go to the World Series. They have the offense of a team that could lose 95 games. If they can somehow, some way, max out offensively and potentially find a bat midway through the season, they become an interesting team.
Well, I don't think the bat will be difficult to find. There's a lot in the system. There will always be teams that will be sellers. So I don't think the bat's hard to find. They've got to get to the point that they can acquire the bat where it's going to be necessary, if you know what I mean.
But bats cost prospects and money.
Well, they don't want they have the first. They don't like to use the second.
Well, and they don't like to give up the first, though.
No.
But you're right. They need to kind of play their way into the position where they're looking up at the GM going, we could use a little help. And the GM goes, okay, you're right. You've held up your end of the bargain. Time for me to earn my paycheck. Kim Ng's been very creative as GM in 2 years, and she's made some good deals. White Sox snapped their 8-game losing streak, beat the Royals 7-3. Cardinals had lost 2 in a row to the Mets, so they scored 5 in the fourth, and then there was a little brawl in the 8th inning. These teams will play again in 3 weeks in New York. My guess is both sides will remember. Arizona only won 2 hits, and yet they won. They beat the Dodgers 3-1. Angels have won 4 in a row. The Guardians have lost 6 in a row. LA 9-5 over Cleveland. Giancarlo Stanton hit his 350th career home run last night.
He's 32.
7th youngest player to get to 350. Homer 3 RBIs. Yankees 5-2 over the Orioles. Okay, 500. If the player is clean, it's still a magic number. Now, the voters have to determine whether or not they think the player is clean. No one has ever whispered anything about Stanton because he's been huge since he was 17. Giancarlo Stanton, if you get to 500, he's at 350.
350. He's 32, David.
Also, he's got like 5 more years of guaranteed money. He's going to play these years in all likelihood at Yankee Stadium.
Right.
Which is not ideal for a right-handed hitter, but now the key, he can get injured and miss time.
That's
but,
it.
You know,
barring injury, he's got a
30 a year. He's right there.
Right there.
Do you still put guys in automatically if they get to 500 and in your estimation they're clean?
I believe so.
I think you have to. Why would the rules change if you're clean, right? Boston snapped the skid. They got Alex Cora back. They beat Toronto 7-1. Bogarts with 4 hits. Mark Profar with a 2-run homer. San Diego 8-5 over Cincinnati. Reds have lost 13-14.
Where are you going to go? Where? To lose 115 games.
Every day. Every day.
The first thing I do when I wake up now. I always go to the score app first, but, usually it's checking whatever's the most important thing. Like normally I would check basketball scores and there was a late game and if I went to bed, or hockey scores.
Right.
Right now, the very first thing I do when I get up, how'd the Reds do last night?
They lost.
Yes. Where?
Man. Let's see. They were 2-2 when he said, where are you going to go? They've gone 1-13 since. I think that's, 3-15 then is what I believe their record is. That's unbelievable. Where are you going to go? Harper with 3 hits. Phillies won their 3rd in a row against the Rockies 7-3. Cubs doubled up the Braves 6-3 and 10. Joe Ryan with 7 scoreless innings of one-hit ball. Kepler with 2 homers. Twins 5-0 over the Tigers. Houston 4-3 over Texas, and the A's 1-0 over San Francisco. By the way, the Angels, I forgot to note, they're now in first in the West by a half game over Seattle. So it's been a while since the Angels have been at the top end of the division, even in April.
You know, that 3-13, just I know you know this, David, but if you extrapolate that out, that is 30 and 130.
Is it 3-13 or 3-15?
Are they 3-15?
Well, yeah, because they were 2-2 when this started, and then they go 1-3. I think they're 3-15.
So you really can only multiply that times 9. That gets you to 27.
That's 27 and 135. Where are you gonna go?
Where you gonna go?
Ashby.
Wow.
Aaron Ashby and 4 relievers combined on a 1-hitter for the Brewers. They beat the Pirates again 3-1. You may remember a few months ago there was the case of a bunch of former NBA players, and they had kind of gotten together to defraud the pension fund out of about $5 million. Well, they decided to arrest 4 more guys associated with that. One of them's a current assistant coach for the Utah Jazz, Keon Dooling. So he let the team know it was coming, and he was arrested yesterday, and he's on paid administrative leave. And that's pretty much it.
That was the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Our buddy Robes in Fargo, who's following us in our Twitch chat room, is all excited. It's still cold up there. Twins have won 6 straight. He's thanking the Rays for Joe Ryan. As long as Buxton stays healthy, Robes, you guys will be competitive. He gets hurt, it's over.
That's the key. And what's the number of games he's played in every year?
Hasn't played more than 92 games, but once in his career. Their winning percentage when he plays is like .650 in his career. And when he doesn't play, it's like .390.
We will start moving towards the draft, mockingly. Probably have a poll question up on the other side as well. Miller and Moulton, we thank you so much for listening right here. Draft Day on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program,
The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
No, Warren, we don't think the Reds can break the Mets record for losses.
We're rooting for it.
Oh, yes. Where are you going to go?
So the Mets have the single season record for
The 62 Mets went 40 and 120.
Whoa.
I believe in modern day baseball, that's the most losses. The Tigers this century had that god-awful team that lost 119. But the Mets first year, they went 40 and 120.
I can't even imagine what life is like being on that team.
And it's funny, the New York City had been without a National League baseball team for 5 years, and so the city didn't care. They loved the Mets. And the fact that they were so terrible actually made them more lovable. Casey Stengel, legendary Yankees manager, was 75 years old and half senile, and he was their manager. And Casey just told wild, crazy stories, and the team was terrible, and people were just thrilled that New York City had a National League team again.
I still haven't watched that 30 for 30 about them. I really should.
Because you had all those Dodgers and Giants fans who had no one to root for because they couldn't root for the Yankees. I mean, you couldn't switch your allegiance to the Yankees if you were a Dodgers and Giants fan. So if you were like rudderless as a baseball fan for 4 or 5 years. My grandmother, my dad's mom, she said it was just awful. She was a Brooklyn Dodgers fan. She said I couldn't root for them when they moved. She said I'd rather die than root for the Yankees. So she became a Mets fan, and she didn't care that they were awful.
That's awesome.
She went to games. When my mom dies, all right, and I know you're listening, Mom, somewhere in the basement, my late grandmother had every Mets yearbook from 62 to when she died. So she had the first 23 years that the Mets were in existence. She had their yearbook every year.
Wow.
And I got them. And I know I didn't throw them out. And my mother doesn't throw anything out. So I know it's in the basement somewhere. I would go over her house because I'd stayed with my grandparents a lot. My mom worked a lot. And I would read the Mets yearbook cover to cover.
Wow.
I knew when players' birthdays were, and it's just.
So the Dodgers and the Giants moved out the same year?
Yeah.
Why? What was the reasoning behind it?
The Dodgers couldn't get the stadium built where they wanted in New York City. They had the land picked out, the location, the whole deal, and one of the powerful politicians in the city wouldn't give it to them.
Did the Mets at first play at Polo Grounds?
Yes.
Wow.
First 2 years while Shea Stadium was being built, 62 and 63.
Well, Polo Grounds is also where the football Giants played?
Yeah.
Yes.
Way back when, but the Giants for the most part played at Yankee Stadium.
Then obviously the Mets are orange and blue because of Dodgers and
Yes.
Giants.
Dodgers blue, Giants orange.
That's so sick. But screw the Mets. Coming from a desperate Marlins fan. Yeah. We're coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
This desk has never been so littered with papers as it is right now. Miller and Moulton 13 hours away from the NFL draft, but our mock draft's about to get underway. It'll be casual. It'll be informal. We'll interrupt it. We'll go to Atlanta in a little over a half an hour. We'll talk to Mark Zinno about what are the Falcons going to do at 8? What should they do? They take their quarterback in the second round. Should they avoid the quarterbacks altogether in this year's class? While we've got them, we'll ask them about the Atlanta Hawks. Say, was that a one-year blip or what's going on? And does anybody in Atlanta care for that matter?
Well, I think they do.
I do too. You and I have always said that should be a great franchise.
Really should.
A great franchise.
Not been able to figure out where they've gone wrong.
So Mark Zinno in a little more than 30 minutes. All right, we doing this?
Yeah, let's get after it.
Jacksonville's on the clock. I'll write it down here. I'll write our mock picks down. We don't have to agree, by the way.
Does the NFL do the draft? Dun, 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 dun.
You know, we will try to do it next year. We talked about this briefly. Felipe, we thought we would scare you off. What we used to do, and it was easier to do it when we were an afternoon show.
A lot easier.
Because it was just a lot easier to get a hold. We would do a media mock draft. We would find a beat person for every team and have them make the selection when their team was on the clock. No trades were allowed. We just went with what the order was. And so, like with the 8 teams this year who had 2 picks, when so-and-so would commit to doing our mock draft, we would say, just so you know, you've got picks 15 and 18. And so then we did a mock draft, but the media members did it. And so it was always interesting. They would be like, okay, who was taken before me? Because I want to take so-and-so. Yeah.
And that was your job. You're on the phone with the guy going, all right, and here's who the last 3 guys were. Is so-and-so available? Yes, he is. Okay.
Right.
And it's a lot of work on the producer.
Right.
It's a lot of fun for the hosts. It's a lot of work for the producer.
And it was a great show. It arguably was the best show we did every year in terms of quality of product. It really was. But it's all on the producer. And since you're in your final days as a college student and you actually still care and you want to get all A's, and we know you are grinding it right now, we're like, we can't do this to young Felipe. We care about him too much.
Collectively, not just David.
Right. So just so you know, a year from now, though,
I'm ready.
it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Basically, you need to decide whether you're breaking up with us in the next 11 months, because if you get within a month of next year's draft, all right, we are tying you to a seat like you are an unruly passenger on a plane. Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, once we get to April, baby, you can't leave us. You got to suffer through the draft. Then you can do whatever you want. All right, Jacksonville.
Pick is in.
Who would you take?
I would take Neal.
I would too. Wow.
I would take Evan Neal.
I would also. That's not who they're going to take, but
No, it's not.
all right. But you and I would go with the tackle, Evan Neal.
They need a tackle. I know they need an edge rusher. Everybody needs an edge rusher.
Right.
But I would take the tackle.
So we going Hutchinson for Detroit?
Absolutely.
I mean, they want him, and, the whole Michigan thing. And can I ask you a question? Why is that important? Because in certain regions, it's not.
I don't know.
But
it's
apparently
really
it is.
important. And, David, I go back to Detroit could have taken, the Red Wings could have taken Jimmy Carson. They ended up taking Joe Murphy. Carson was a Michigan State product, ended up scoring back-to-back 50-goal seasons with the Kings. Would play for Detroit later. Joe Murphy ended up not being that good early in his career and ended up having a tragic life. But Joe Murphy was ripped because he didn't produce the way Carson did.
Right.
And they held it against him vehemently. it's a strong region from within.
Sure.
If you're from there, it is Detroit against the world. That mentality is there. They like this guy. Michigan's still far and away. There's a lot more green in that state than there was when I left, but it's still Michigan State. We saw it this year. Once the University of Michigan got rolling, it was like they were pounding their chest. They were all back really quickly. And
Pat,
the one team's won. The one team hasn't.
Well, Pat has commented. He said, boy, have I learned this year in preparing for this draft that Lions fans want the Wolverine. It's important to them. They really, when in doubt, if we're picking and choosing, give me the Wolverine. I'll take my chances. So we'll give it to them. All right. Houston at 3.
Well, this would be interesting if it breaks out this way because Houston needs an edge guy and they need a corner.
Well,
they need a ton, but come on. These are two big positions that you have to have.
Right.
And you're sitting there with Trayvon Walker there, and you got Gardner Sauce there from Cincinnati.
Right. So who are you taking?
You've scared me on Walker a little bit. I would take Gardner the corner.
Well, and I think they're going to take Gardner for that matter. I will say, you have to get out of your division first. I mean, there's only one elite receiver in your division right now. Right? A.J. Brown, Tennessee. I mean, I don't think the need is as glaring in the AFC South right now because I know Jacksonville just spent money on 2 receivers. I don't think either one of them's a 1. I don't know if either one of them's close to a 1. Colts don't have a 1. Now, if they were smart, they'd find a way to get their hands on one. They could spend some money and sign one, but all right, we'll put Gardner with Houston, which a lot of people have happening, by the way.
That gets us to the JETS, Jets.
Yeah, Jets are bummed. They really wanted Gardner.
And where would they go here?
Well, either edge or tackle, I think, is where they go.
And I think they would go edge. But I think they may go Thibodeau over.
Look at you.
Over Walker.
Look at you. A lot of people have Thibodeau falling.
I understand that.
To maybe the Giants at 7, hell, maybe even Atlanta at 8.
With the rise that Walker has, it makes more sense to take Walker here.
All right, I'm going to go with your first gut. I actually think they take Thibodeau.
All right, let's go Thibodeau.
Oh no, we don't have to agree. Giants at 5. Giants are crushed, by the way.
Well, and by the way, just the Jets and Thibodeau, New York. This guy's an eclectic guy. He's an interesting guy. He's going to be a good interview. Just this, it screams Jets and bust all over it.
Giants are absolutely crushed because they wanted Evan Neal or Gardner at 5. They really did. Now, I believe Neal's going to be available at 5 tonight. Pat doesn't. I think he will. I think the way it's going to fall, it's going to be D-end, and
corner tackle.
Well, and I don't think Neal will be taken by Houston, even if they go tackle. I think they'll go Ikwonu. So I think Neal's going to be there for the Giants at 5, and they're going to do the happy dance. I think if this draft fell this way, that they would still take a tackle and they would take Cross.
That's where I was leaning.
And I think they're going to try to come back and get Stingley at 7, but it would make a difference, though, if the Jets, like we said, either Walker or Thibodeau. We're going to write down Thibodeau because I do think that the Thibodeau's a candidate for the Giants on their second first-round pick. Wink Martindale, their D-end, is pounding the table for him.
If this breaks this way for Carolina at 6, and they have to stand pat and can't move, they would desperately be trying to move with anybody right now. But I think if this is the case, they take the tackle from NC State here.
Can I ask a question? Would you be just crushing Carolina if they're stuck at 6 and they took who they thought was the best wide receiver in the draft?
No, I wouldn't. I just don't think they're going to take a receiver at 6.
I mean, they don't have another pick again until the 100s.
That's why I am telling you, they're begging anybody.
Right.
Anybody.
Well, I mean, you and I both think they're going to trade out.
If someone will, and I don't, this is where the board doesn't, this is where you and I have always agreed, David. This is where the board to me doesn't matter if they're not getting value they want. They've got no second and no third. What the hell are they going to, Where are you going to go?
Where are you going to go? I mean, think about it from the Jets standpoint. The Jets have 2 2s. They've got a 3. They've got 2 4s and 2 5s. I mean, the Jets can move up from 10 if they want. Seattle's got 2 2s and 2 5s that they can maneuver with if they want to move up from 9 to 6. You know, we've talked about Baltimore with the 2 3s and 5 4ths, Philly with all their picks. Heck, I even think it's possible for a team to move up. Somebody wants to make the really big, bold move from the 20s. I think they could move all the way up to 6.
But I mean, right here, if the Giants just offered you 81 to move up one spot.
Ooh, let me tell you something. If the Giants give up a 3rd-round pick to move up one spot, I want to fire their new GM.
Well, I'm just. There's a plenty of teams because if you're sitting there, if you're the Giants, you want to get the other edge rusher. You don't want someone to get him before you.
I know, I understand. And if you're Carolina, you're taking the best offer on the table and you're moving down.
And I'm just merely pointing out there's more than one team, more than 2 teams that you could be bidding this for. But if they are stuck there, I'd go.
You'd go Ekwonu?
Yeah, I'd go Ekwonu, the kid from NC State.
Okay. And I would not take a quarterback, which is another thing. If Carolina's stuck, they're probably going to have to seriously ponder. But I would go Jamison Williams for what it's worth. And that could start just an avalanche of receivers in the draft. The Giants are at 7. I'm telling you right now, they'll take Stingley.
Yep.
If this draft fell out this way.
Absolutely.
Now, because remember, we had Thibodeau going at 4. You know, Jermaine Johnson's still on the board, but I don't think they would take him that high. So we both have Stingley going to the Giants at 7. And then now it's why we were having Mark Zinno on in about 25 minutes, and we'll hold off on Atlanta's pick at 8. This is why we think they're in a very interesting spot here. Because the draft is going to fall in some way, shape, or form around the way that we have just played it out.
And Atlanta needs a receiver, obviously. They need an edge rusher. They've got one there for them.
You know, we've gone with 3 offensive tackles, 2 defensive ends, and 2 corners in our first 7 picks. And maybe it's 3, 3, and 1, but it could very well be something along those lines, which then puts Atlanta on the clock at 8. Their pick next.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
God, they've been promoting the hell out of this. The Offer, the story about making The Godfather, it's on Paramount Plus. Really trying to get you to buy all of these, David. They throw one or two shows out that are just good looking enough to say, ooh.
Oh, I signed up for Apple.
You have Verizon?
Yeah.
You should get it for free.
Yeah, but it's only free for a short time.
What, a year?
No, it's like free for a couple weeks.
What did Seth say? He gets it for free because he has Verizon.
Yeah, Seth's got, I think what the problem was that you got it for 3 months, and I didn't sign up till a few days ago.
Gotcha.
So I think I lost most of my free time.
Gotcha.
They say I got to start paying in like 2 weeks.
Should we just put who should the Jags take first overall, by the way? Poll question.
Yeah. Or which of the 3 quarterbacks would you draft?
I like that one.
Then you give them Pickett, Willis, and
You want to put 4?
other.
Well, Coral.
Well, Corral /
Corral.
Howell.
Let's just do the 3.
Yeah.
Give the 3 potential.
Which of these
First round picks will have the best career?
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's because I don't know if I go first. I think Willis would. I think people think Willis is going first. That's the only reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Bears moving up for Trubisky. What do you mean, where's 7? Stingley for the Giants. Down to Stingley or Trayvon Walker in our draft.
Trayvon Walker is going to be a Falcon.
Got to remember, part of the most losses is how old the franchise is. Yeah, Jordan Davis might break Goodell if it's an enthusiastic bear hug. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Desmond Ritter, right?
Yes.
David, would you freak out if the Giants drafted a quarterback?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be incompetence.
Incompetence.
There you go, Johnny Mac.
Yeah. Especially, there's no reason also to like draft some guy in mid rounds
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, doing an informal mock draft in and around a normal show. Mark Zinno to join us in a little more than 15 minutes, live from Atlanta. And that's where we are in our mock draft right now with the Falcons on the clock. If you're just joining us, and this is our mock draft, not who we think they're going to take, who reports say they're going to take. If Miller and Moulton were picking for these teams, we would have taken Evan Neal for Jacksonville, Hutchinson for the Lions, Sauce Gardner for the Texans. We would have gone Thibodeau for the Jets. We would have gone Cross, the tackle from Mississippi State, for the Giants. We definitely differed at 6. And while we agreed Carolina is not happy with how the first 5 picks played out and they would desperately want to trade out, Mark took Ekwonu, the tackle from NC State. And so that's our official pick of record, because I went off the reservation a little bit. I would take Jameson Williams if I was Carolina. I would take who I thought was the best wide receiver on the board. But our consensus pick, I let Mark be the 51 to my 49 for that one. We went with Stingley for the Giants, which puts Atlanta on the clock at 8.
And David, I don't know about you, but Atlanta's needed an edge rusher for next to ever. Trayvon Walker's sitting there. He's a Georgia kid. I think they would be running to the podium.
Agreed. I think they'd be thrilled that the Giants went with Stingley. And I do think that that's going to be the choice for the Giants at 7. Are they going to take an edge or are they going to take a corner? Because I'm convinced they're going offensive line at 5, because it's the absolute one. It's the reason Joe Shane has the job, is because the Giants have not fixed their offensive line. The very first thing Dave Gettleman said when he got the job, he said, I'm going to fix the offensive line. And he started talking about hog mollies and crap like that. And he spent a lot of money and resources on it and got almost all of it wrong. And so it's why they have a new GM. So if you're the new GM, what do you have to do?
You got to fix the offensive line.
Well,
but I mean,
you can guarantee who's there at 5. Obviously, 2 picks later, you don't know at the time. So I think they go tackle at 5 and they go either corner or edge at 7. But we're to Seattle right now at 9. And by the way, if this draft goes anywhere like what we said, Seattle, we think, would be a candidate to get on the phone with Carolina. They got 2 2s, 2 5s that they would call Carolina at 6. And because
I think they want an edge rusher. They would want Trayvon Walker in a heartbeat.
Totally. Exactly. Or if it's potentially even Thibodeau.
Right.
They may want to get ahead of Atlanta and the Giants and move up to 6.
Now, what they do here at 9, David, because we've got the tackles gone. We've got the top 3 edge rushers gone. Would they go Jermaine Johnson here?
I believe it or not, they do not have a left tackle. Dwayne Brown is unsigned and likely not to be re-signed. I think that Seattle right now hates the way this draft has played out.
And they're going to reach for Penning?
Yeah, I really believe that.
It's their most glaring need outside of the quarterback position on their board.
I mean, Seattle at 9 is like could either the 3rd tackle or the 3rd edge. I will say this. Jermaine Johnson is in play.
He's ranked higher on my board.
I know he is.
A lot higher than Penning is. And they need both.
And he is ranked higher on everybody's board. So I'll give you Jermaine Johnson at 9. Seattle settles for the 4th edge. Nah, not really. Not really. Jets aren't that happy either, but I think now, come on, we got to go.
Oh, no.
Which wide receiver are we going with? Garrett Wilson or Drake London or Jameson Williams? Because that's what I think it comes down to for the Jets. This is where I believe you'll see first skill player at 10.
Flip a coin. I'll let you pick the one you think's best. I know Williams is coming off the injury.
Yeah, I'm going Jameson Williams. And by the way, think about this. You got 2 Ohio State wide receivers who are likely to go in the top 20 picks of the draft, and Jamison Williams couldn't get on the field at Ohio State all that much, and that's why he transferred to Alabama. Huh. How about that wide receivers room?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
They do have a little bit of talent every year in Columbus now, don't they? So, which gets us to Washington, who I think's a prime candidate to trade out because they only have 6 picks. And they don't have a 3rd and they don't have a 5th. So they're at 11, 47, 113, and then you don't see them again till really the 200s. So if you're Washington, I mean, unless there's somebody you're absolutely in love with.
Well, here's the problem. Who's the player that someone else is going to move up with they're in love with right now?
Jermaine Davis of Georgia. Jordan Davis, I'm sorry. That's I think, the guy. I don't know if anybody's so in love with Kyle Hamilton, the safety from Notre Dame, that they want to move up a few spots to grab him. You know, do the Chargers at 17, are they in love with an interior offensive lineman? You know, we haven't gone there yet. We haven't gone to Zion Johnson yet. But I do think Jordan Davis is, you know, there's not a lot of 350-pound men that run 4.7s. I mean, Jordan Davis is a freak. An absolute freak. Now, I think he's got Raven written all over him. When you look at Jordan Davis, you go, well, that's a guy in the middle for the Baltimore Ravens.
Right. And do you think Washington needs, I mean, that's not an area of need for them.
No, they have a strong defensive line. And Baltimore, meanwhile, has 2 third-round picks and 5 fourth-round picks. They've got the nice little bit of ammunition. Remember, Washington doesn't have a 3rd. Baltimore's got 2. You give up one of your 3rds, you move up 3 spots, you get Jordan Davis. I really think that Washington's trading out at 11.
All right, let's just leave him in the spot, though, because that's the way we do it. We don't trade in our mock drafts.
Then I think they'll take Kyle Hamilton. That's Ron Rivera's kind of player.
You've been all over this.
Yep. If they're stuck at 11, I think they'll go Kyle Hamilton. He won't be the highest rated player on the board. I think Jordan Davis will be, but they've got so much money tied up in the defensive line that I think they'd go Hamilton, the safety from Notre Dame.
And that takes us to the Minnesota Vikings, who, when I'm looking at my board of the top guys I have on my list, with Hamilton gone now, you've got Lloyd, the linebacker from Utah. You've got, if they wanted to go receiver, you take your pick. If they wanted to go corner, you got the Washington corner McDuffie. And these are needs for the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, and a lot of people in their mock drafts have written Stingley down at 12 for Minnesota, but I don't think he gets there, personally.
Well, and I have McDuffie rated ahead of Stingley on the list that I'm looking at. And it's not my list. I'm not trying to act like I go home and do a mock draft list and give you a top 100. I don't have that kind of time, all right? But I do my research, and I have one that I've used for a couple of years that I trust a little more than the others. But for what it's worth, this person has McDuffie rated 2 spots ahead of Stingley. Not a whole lot. And this is, you know, one's QB, or one's cornerback 2, one's cornerback 3. So there's not a lot of difference here. But I think they'd probably, I mean, out of need, wouldn't they take the corner? Or would you take a receiver here?
Well, I would take Jordan Davis. I mean, I'd take a 350-pound guy, put him in the middle of my defensive line. I don't care. These guys don't grow on trees. It's tough to find a Jordan Davis. But I think you're right. I think they'd go corner. I think it'd be a little bit of a reach, but I do think they would go corner. What's interesting is, do they go McDuffie from Washington? There's a couple of Washington corners. The other guy who's flying up draft boards, by the way, Elam of Florida. Probably going to go in the first round. Gators have a long streak where all but 1 year here in like the last 20, they've had a first round pick, but we're going to go McDuffie.
Yeah.
Trent McDuffie, the corner from Washington for Minnesota. I will say, it's been asked in our Twitch chat room, would Washington trade inside the division with the Eagles? Well, we know the Eagles would, because the Eagles and Cowboys made a deal last year to move ahead of the Giants to take the wide receiver. So Philly would do it. Question is, would Washington? And I think they would for the picks. Mark Zinno, next.
Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Watch out! He's got get away from the top speed! Watch out! He's got get away from the top speed!
Neither of you have taken a QB yet, right?
No. No, David will fight me when New Orleans comes to take a QB. Hey, I'm curious here in the Twitch chat room. I love seeing that you put us on the big screen, although it's got to be a scary look. How many of you let a big screen, computer screen, phone? That's my question to you. You can just type answers.
I've done phone in the car before
Of what?
of you guys.
Aren't you supposed to be there?
No, Christmas break.
Yeah.
When I had COVID.
When you take vacations.
I never take vacations.
Took a week. Not my fault you got sick.
No, first of all,
You were going to Colorado or somewhere skiing.
Yeah, the trip was planned before I even
South
started working
America,
here.
somewhere.
Colorado. That trip didn't even happen. And yeah, I got COVID as well.
Johnny Mac, that seems a little scary. Holy shit. I just asked the Twitch chat room the question of how they watch us. Phone, tablet, computer screen, big screen. Johnny Mac's got us on a 70-inch big screen.
Jeez.
Lord.
Boss. The fact that you guys are all at work this early is impressive. Damn it. I wanted to watch that and see the first base coach take Alonso down. That's funny, fam. Oh. I'd be pissed too.
Yeah. Yes, you can see we'd be like, and he'd been hit twice in the series, including once in the head.
Once in the head again.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Roy Cummings, JP Shadrick will join us next hour. We'll check in on what they think the Bucs and Jags will do. Bucs drafting at the end at 27 with some needs. Offensive line, defensive line mostly. And, of course, the Jags with a ton of needs, and for the second year in a row, having the first overall pick of the draft. We'll resume our mock draft momentarily, but Mark Zinno's kind enough to join us once again. The Atlanta Sports Talk veteran, doing a whole bunch of things. The Locked On Atlanta Sports Podcast. Also, Sports Grid TV, VSiN Pickwise for the sports gambler out there. You can follow Mark on Twitter at Mark Zinno. He also, as an Army vet, has the Hazard Ground podcast, 5 years in running now, and it is outstanding. Mark, it's David and Mark once again. How are you?
Gentlemen, always great to be on with you. Good morning. I hope you're well.
Well, we are. Thank you. All right. Atlanta at 8. We think it's an interesting spot because there's a strong likelihood that no skill players will have gone by the time Atlanta's turn to pick at 8. What do you think they should do?
Well, what I think they should do and what they will do are probably two varying different degrees of philosophy. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. I mean, look, whether the Falcons want to admit it or not, and they have tried to refute the fact that they are in a rebuild, they are in a rebuild. Philosophically, you cannot do anything in a rebuild without getting the quarterback situation settled. Like, that is priority number one. And I'm not saying they should take a quarterback in this draft, but all I'm saying is that you're literally delaying the rebuilding process by a year by not figuring out your quarterback situation. So I don't think they're going to go quarterback at 8. And, you know, by most people's accounts, you're overdrafting Malik Willis at 8. I don't really know what that means. If the guy works out, it doesn't matter where you draft him, right? I mean, it works
Bingo.
out. So, but I would say the desire for a pass rusher is going to be there. I think that there's a variety of ways they can go. I think you can make a legitimate argument for every position, including quarterback, with the exception of wide receiver. My level of disgust for them taking a wide receiver is so small. My puke factor is so small, it's not even funny. It just literally makes zero sense. There's not a cogent argument for them to draft a pass catcher for the second year in a row when they have a bad offensive line, no running game, and no quarterback to get them the football. I mean, I understand that there's a hole there and that their wide receiver room right now is basically filled up with me, the two of you, and two other guys you've never heard of play football before. But that's not the point. That really isn't the point. Like there are steps in the rebuild process. There are things you have to do first. There's a great argument for them to take one of the tackles. Clearly, they haven't had a pass rusher since John Abraham of worth, with the exception of 1 year of Vic Beasley. So, I mean, obviously they can get one of those guys. It would make a great sense to go grab another corner to pair him with A.J. Terrell and have a secondary that is very, very talented and very, very good. They desperately need linebackers, although there aren't really any linebackers at the top of the draft that people say are valued that high. So they can wait. But again, I think you can make arguments for all those positions that are of need. I mean, when you are the Falcons roster, you have needs all over the place. It's just a question of how the draft falls to them and what they do. And then, of course, there is always the option for them to trade back. You know, if the player that they want isn't there, if they can acquire more picks, because when you're in a rebuild, you need picks, you need commodities. That's also should be something that they should consider.
Falcons with the 8th pick, and then 2 2s and 2 3s. So they already have some picks, but as Mark said, they can always use more.
Well, and are you of our philosophy, Mark, that, there's the Jimmy Johnson point chart for drafts, but in a draft like this, where there's probably not going to be a lot of people wanting to move up to 8, as long as you don't get completely fleeced, something's better than nothing, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, here's the rub. I think we're going to see a ton of trades tonight. I mean, you have to remember, there are 3 teams picking ahead of the Falcons with multiple first-round picks. And that leaves the door open for a lot of room and a lot of flexibility, because they can pick up the phone and call somebody and say, do you want this? And we want more. And they still have a first-round pick this year on the board, right? I mean, the Jets, Giants, and Texans all have an extra first-round pick. And the Giants have 2 picks, or, 3 picks apart. So, there's a lot of movement, I think, that will happen tonight, and that could happen tonight. I think the Saints are a prime team to move up. Although the Steelers aren't really, that's not their MO, I think that there's possibilities that they could move. Certainly the Eagles with multiple picks also have the flexibility to move up and go get a player that they really want. I know there were reports that they want Jameson Williams to pair with Devonta Smith. They would need to be able to move up. And if they want to take him at 8, I'm sure the Falcons would take both of their first-round picks and just do a quick swap and be done with it. I mean, if that works out to the draft chart, I'm not 100% sure, but you get the point. I mean, I think that there is a lot of movement that could happen tonight. I would bet on the fact that it probably does. I think we probably see 2 or 3 trades maybe in the first round. Like if you were to set the trade market at over under 1.5, I'd probably take the over, thinking 2 trades are going to happen in the first round.
Well, we think there's going to be a lot of just small maneuvering. We don't know how many of the big trades up to Carolina at 6 from the mid-teens, or, Atlanta one time, I think it was to get Julio, went from the 20s into the top 10, and will somebody who's really good, like a Green Bay, Kansas City, or Buffalo, move up to where Atlanta is at 8 because there's one guy that they really want? We don't think we'll see that tonight, Mark, but we do think that we're going to see a lot of the maneuvering.
I would say that at least the current, sexy philosophy, right, is the LA Rams and Tyreek Hill, to quote him, F those picks, right? Like, to give away first-round picks in next year's draft to move up to make a big splash to get a player now that you're a contender with is sort of like what everybody's into now, right? Like, just get rid of the picks and get me the players now that can help me win. So, I mean, the Rams are by them winning a Super Bowl, it sort of validated that whole thing. They don't win the Super Bowl, but Bengals win it last year. All of a sudden, it's back to the old school thinking of, well, you can't get rid of first-round picks because look what the Bengals did. They got a first-round pick. They got Joe Burrow. And they want to. But now the Rams can sit here and go, well, we don't have any first-round picks. They drafted, and to their credit, they drafted really well on day 3, like 4, 5, 6, 7th-round picks. They've done really, really well with those guys and have found players there. So let's not discount the draft totally, but at least the value of a first-round pick versus a player that can impact your team now, I think is starting to balance out a little bit. And it wouldn't shock me at all to see some big moves up, from the mid-teens into single digits. I think you could see somebody try to jump 10 spots.
Well, and I wonder, just throwing this out there, if you're the Bills, come on, you're close. I mean, if there's one guy, maybe it's, Is it Hamilton, quite frankly, the safety from Notre Dame because you can't cover Travis Kelce? I mean, is it an edge rusher? If you're the Bills, do you look around and go, hey, come on, let's make a move. Let's make a play.
In reality, the pick that they're giving up next year is a pick that's in the high 20s, low 30s, right?
Right.
Theoretically, if their season works out the way they want, they're playing in the AFC Championship game at a minimum, and that pick is either 29, 30, 31, or 32. So you're giving away a first. The only thing you're really giving away at that point is, the extra year of control for a player. And guys, I mean, understand what GMs really like. GMs do not have 32 rated first round talents. They have about 15 to 20. Then after that, it's really a hodgepodge of what GMs like and value and think isn't going to last. Or is it like, they only hand out about 15 to 20 first round grades to people. After that, everybody starts to be the same. And I only say that because the pick that you get between 21 and 35 or 21 and 45, the difference is so negligible to most of the GMs as they're drafting. Now, it doesn't always work out that way when they end up stepping on the football field, but at least from a scouting process, the difference is so negligible that that pick doesn't really affect Buffalo. You follow what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. No, we agree completely.
100%. All right, Mark, just switching to your state, not so much the Falcons. Georgia's got, 7, 8 guys that can go in the first 2 rounds. When it's all said and done, what dog's going to have the best NFL career?
That's an interesting question. I mean, I would think, believe it or not, I would lean on somebody like Nakobe Dean. Travon Walker is interesting. Jordan Davis, I think, is at least now to this point, is a limited skill set. Is Jordan Davis a ceiling like Aaron Donald? Maybe, but he's not really a get after the quarterback kind of guy at this point. Could he turn into that? Yeah. I mean, I remember the knock on Aaron Donald coming out of Pittsburgh was the guy takes plays off. Yeah. Good call, everybody. But beyond that, it's just like, the knock on Jordan Davis is like, he's not a 3-down player right now. Yeah. I mean, when he's taking kids' lunch money on a routine basis on first, second, third downs, everyone's going to look foolish 10 years down the road. But it's hard to project some of that stuff. I think Lewis Cine could have a very good career, and he's one of those guys I think that depending on where Kyle Hamilton goes will dictate where he goes. I think it's one of those things where he is a player that could shoot up a draft board very quickly because those are the only 2 legitimate safeties that are out there, at least as far as the first round is concerned.
I am trying to figure out if it's just a bunch of blowing smoke in the last few days, but Nakobe Dean seems to be falling significantly. Like he's fallen about a half a round in the last week. And there are a lot of people that think he's actually going to be an early second round pick. And man, Mark, when you watch him play, you're like, how in the world is this guy a second round pick?
Yeah, well, isn't it always the story of a guy who falls undrafted and ends up being a super stud on Sundays? I mean, that's just kind of the way it ends up going. It's funny how things work out like that. But I agree with you. That's why I said I think Nakobe Dean could be a real impact player in the NFL. He's just got the size and the speed. I mean, I don't know if he's as good as Micah Parsons is, but I get that feeling that it's sort of, that could be the level of what he is on Sundays in the NFL.
Will the Falcons take a quarterback? They've got 8 and they've got 2 second-round picks. So they're a player to also trade back late into the first round. 43 and 58 could probably get them to 30, 31, or 32 to take a quarterback. Do you think the Falcons take one of the quarterbacks in this draft?
Well, philosophically, I hate the idea. Like, if you're not taking a quarterback in the first round, then why take one at all? Because that person is not intended to be a starter. That person is intended to have a chance to play, have a chance. It's almost like, the 7th round wide receiver you draft. He's got a chance to play. He's got a chance to make the team. Like there's nothing solid about it. So I hate the philosophy. If you can't draft, there's no point in waiting past your first overall pick to take a quarterback. That's like, I'm going to wait till the day before the prom to ask the prom queen out and see if she wants to go with me, on the hopes that nobody else has taken her yet. Like that's ridiculous philosophy. This doesn't make any sense. So I hate the idea of them taking a quarterback in the second round. However, they do need another body in that quarterback room. They do need another body to try and develop into an arm. Again, if the quarterback class, as we're hearing, is not all that good this year for the first rounders, shouldn't the second rounders be even more farther off? Theoretically, like,
Of course.
No,
why
but
pick
what
one at
about
all?
going back to
Like,
get a Ritter? What about going back to get Ritter? If you think
now, that is an option. Listen, if they wanted to give away both of their second round picks to move up into the first round, move up 5 or 6 picks to move up there and get them, the gamble philosophically isn't wrong, right? The Ravens did the same thing with Lamar Jackson, and it worked out for them. I think that there's an option for them to do that. I don't think it's an awful idea, but again, it goes back to that same premise. If you're gambling on a quarterback in the first round, it better hit, because if it doesn't, as a GM and a head coach, you're putting your job on the line. So, and not only that, you're giving away draft capital to do it. So, when you're in a rebuild, it's a gamble. I think it's on the table for them, depending on how the chips fall and when these other quarterbacks go. But, last I've heard, the Falcons are enamored with Matt Corral. And if he falls into the second round, that may end up being a pick that works out for them. I loved Matt Corral at Ole Miss. I thought he was great. I enjoyed watching how he play, but he also had Lane Kiffin as an offensive coordinator and a play caller and a head coach. So, if he's not in that type of offense, can he really be the same type of quarterback? But I think with Arthur Smith, there's a lot of similarities, at least in scheme and play calling for the quarterback at the NFL level as he got at the college level. So I think that works out for them well. Matt Corral's just a guy that I like. I think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. So I think somebody's going to find value in him maybe in the second round and take him, and it's going to end up working out for him. But again, when you take a quarterback in the second round, you're not intending him to start from day one. You're just not.
Atlanta with the 11th pick of the second round at 43 would not have to move up very far. They've got 2 2s and 2 3s and 2 6s for that matter. They've got just enough ammunition to be able to move up for Matt Corral if they feel they need to. Mark, as always, appreciate your time, continued success, whether it's with your Hazard Ground Vet podcast or whether it's on Sports Grid TV, VSiN, and Pickwise. Thanks so much.
Gentlemen, you guys are the best. Thank you for the time this morning. Appreciate it.
Also, the Locked On Atlanta Sports podcast, Mark Zinno, Zinno, and that's how you follow him on Twitter.
Just wish we could get him to give a strong opinion once in a while when he comes on.
I know.
Vanilla.
He is a very interesting man. All right. And he was an Army colonel, and he's that Hazard Ground podcast. If the military interests you, it is worth checking out. Roy Cummings on the other side.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Isn't that NFL Network?
Yeah, they've got a takeover going on.
Whoa.
Look at Kay Adams getting some ESPN2 time.
Wow.
I'm so bummed out. I heard she's on A Nice Human.
Really?
She's also leaving.
Where's she going?
She's gonna do Amazon
Ooh,
Thursday Night Football, and also she wants to live out in LA.
that's big. That's big for her. Good for her.
A lot of people don't want the gig, even to fill in and replace Nate Burleson's gig, because people don't want to live in New York and New Jersey. Got a lot of, all the Fox people are based out of LA. A lot of the NFL Network's headquarters is in the bowels of SoFi.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all based out. This is the only NFL Network thing that's not LA based.
Is this one also based in New York?
Yeah. And so there are a lot of people, like, it would not surprise me if her replacement comes from outside the family. Because I know some of the people, and I know they're not going to leave LA to go east to do that show.
The weather is nice.
Well, yeah, and and if
But
you've
you
got
get
a
used
life,
to California, you don't want to
Yeah.
leave to go to a city. LA's not the city.
it's a very different vibe. Very different.
But different for better or for worse?
Just different.
Just very different.
Just different.
Depends on your personality.
Right inside my head.
It does.
My wife over there said the same thing I was going to say.
Yeah. Like LA doesn't work for me. Like,
is it too hectic? Is that the thing?
no, compared to New York, no. But no, it's just, it's funny. You can tell the heart of the Fox crew, at least in the booth. Like, Joe's spotters are from Philly and Atlanta. And I'm obviously born and raised in Jersey and now live here. The three of us, LA is not our thing. It just isn't. It's just, I mean, I'm neutral on LA. The two of them would light it on fire if they could. They can't wait to get out.
I went to LA once and I was 6, so I really can't.
Yeah, I was there in my teens, so I'm with you.
But, the weather's a lot better. A lot better. It does stop you in your tracks, though. I mean, gas right now out in LA is $7
Is it
a
really?
gallon. Yeah, with the taxes, the gasoline tax alone that they tack on it. Like, when it was 3-ish here, it was like 5.30 out there. I mean, when I was out there during
So
football
it's obviously
season,
a percent of what the
I mean, there's like $1.30 tax that just comes from whether it's the county or the state that's on it that we don't have anywhere else in the country. So when you're watching the evening news and you see those most ridiculous gas prices, that's all Southern California. Maybe the Bay Area, but I mean, it's all California.
Good morning.
there-
Is this Roy?
There's no doubt, Jake, that the
Hey, Roy.
taxes in the city, but
Miller and Moulton. How are you?
Turn your mic off. There you go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Well, just like that, 2 hours down, 1 to go. For those of you in Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice, and Lake City and surrounding areas. We're halfway home in the 239, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. And, well, we couldn't do a mock draft and or a draft preview without a few minutes from Roy Cummings. I mean, just to say hi, if nothing else, pewterpirates.com. Follow him on Twitter, rcummingsfhcn. Hi, Roy.
Hi, guys. How we doing?
We're good. If everything falls the way Tampa wants it to, what do they do tonight?
To be honest, I think the best thing for them to do would be to take a couple of steps back, if anybody's interested, and try to grab a few more picks in the top 50. That's the way this draft really is. Not a lot of superstars, not a lot of guys. I mean, the quarterbacks are really a toss-up. I've seen quarterbacks going everywhere from, 4th overall to 32nd overall. The first quarterback, by the way. So who knows what's happening there? Not a lot of exceptional, standout, step in right away type players. I mean, there's a few. Most of them defensive ends, which the Bucs could use, but I think they're a little bit out of their reach because I don't think you want to take your middle round picks or, your second and third round pick in this draft and move up to get anybody this time around. I think you want to, this is a deep draft. It's one of those drafts where there's probably about 40 or 50 players in that 25 to 50 group that you say, okay, you're happy there, which means the second and third round are going to be pretty good values. So I think I think it's the way Jason Light likes to work a draft. Wouldn't be surprised to see him move back a few spots, even out of the first round, to grab a couple of extra second and third round picks. I could see that happening.
How many starting positions right now are open for the Bucs?
I got to think maybe 4 or 5. I mean, I think both guard spots are kind of open. Certainly the running back position is a bit of a toss-up. I mean, look, Leonard Fournette's probably going to be your guy, but I don't think you need anybody there. I think you got pieces there. But I think it's, who's the actual lead back could be a bit of a battle there. Ronald Jones still has, the ability to overtake that position. But obviously defensive end is a toss-up on both sides. And clearly, the secondary is once again, just about everything's up for grabs there. So I would say, maybe more than 5, maybe 6, 7, actually.
The Bucs, for the record, have their own first, second, third, and fourth round picks. So that's 27, 60, 91, and 133. They don't have a 5th or a 6th rounder by my calculation, and then they have 2 really late 7th rounders. So they only have 6 picks in the draft and only 4 before the 7th round to back up what Roy is saying in terms of, hey, maybe use that first round pick and go back 6, 8 spots, whatever the case may be, and try to pick some value up, if you will. Roy Cummings from pewterpirates.com. Before we get back to the draft, do you think that Sue and Gronk are in conjunction with the Bucs and saying, listen, you do what you need to do and just save as much money as possible for us, within $1 million, $2 million of what we want to play for? Knock yourself out, do your business, and we'll sign after you're all said and done? Or do you think that, no, they're free agents and they could end up elsewhere, and we have no idea how this is going to play out?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more the latter. I think the Bucs have decided, let's see what happens in the draft. Let's see what we get. If they, there's a tight end, kind of right there for them, really, in this draft that they could step in. He's certainly not going to be Rob Gronkowski, but there's a couple of tight ends that they could look at with their first round pick. That would not be a surprise necessarily. Defensive end, the best ones are obviously a little bit out of their reach, I think, but you never know. These drafts are weird. If somebody takes a quarterback at number 5 or 6 or 7 overall, which could happen, then the next team might take a quarterback too. And all of a sudden, 2 of those defensive ends get pushed down. And then, again, that's where the Bucs would maybe consider taking some picks and moving up and getting a guy. So I think they want to wait and see how this draft plays out. The other thing, they haven't had a lot of money. I mean, they just restructured Tom Brady's contract to create $9 million in cap space. They really haven't had the money to sign a Gronk or a Sue and say, okay, well, we can easily fit you in under the cap. They've got to do some maneuvering here and cap-wise. So there's a lot of things that kind of have to work out for that. But I think the biggest thing is let's wait and see what they get in the draft. I think they probably are looking at it that way before they make a decision on those guys. I think they want them. Certainly Gronkowski, I think they want. But I think they've got to wait and see what the draft brings at first.
Roy, it'll be very late in the night, and when we're doing a 4-hour draft show, if the Bucs, because I'll be into bourbon by the time the Bucs draft, if they take a tight end, I'll finish my glass on the spot. That's how in shock I'd be if they take a tight end. To me, if they stay there, though, they should be able to get a plug-and-play guard. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Roy, I mean, the Texas A&M kid might be there. I think it'd be a stretch to think the center from Iowa was still there. But Green, the guard from A&M, good chance he's there. That's a plug-and-play guard. To me, with a team like Tampa, if you can find a plug-and-play player, despite wanting to trade back and get a couple more picks, you're a Super Bowl contender. Get someone that can start.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Look, their guard situation is okay right now. It could be better. If they were to get a Kenyon Green or a Zion Johnson, if that could happen for them, I think they'd be extremely happy. I probably what they're hoping happens is that they get to their spot and without having to move anywhere, they can at least pick one of those guys. I think if those 2 guys are gone, then it's a matter of, okay, well, do we fill the safety spot or do you move back? Because the safety spot, you lose Jordan Whitehead, you've got to fill that up. So, who's the guy you want to do that? I mean, and right around where they picked, you certainly got some possibilities. I mean, you've got Louis Cine, the kid out of Georgia. That's one possibility. There's some others there. Do you like the safety there, or do you want to move back? I've seen Andrew Booth's name, another defensive back that they could take there. Certainly Daxton Hill is another guy who can play both spots, a bit of a tweener. So there's a lot of players they could target right there, which is why I think moving back a couple of spots makes sense for them if somebody else is really enamored with somebody that's not, that isn't the guy they want. And I think there's just a lot of fallback positions for them. So when you get down to their spot, there's a lot that could happen. They could be very happy with staying where they are and taking what falls to them. They could decide that, hey, we're happy, just as happy with this guy who we have ranked, 32nd overall and moving down 4 spots and grabbing an extra 3rd or 4th round pick to do it. That could happen as well. So again, from the Bucs perspective, kind of an intriguing draft. Not a real exciting draft, but it's intriguing depending on, determining, what it is exactly that they're going to go for.
Do you think they would take Linderbaum? They're set at center, but there are some that think that he might be able to play guard. Do you think if he falls to them, because he's another, like Nakobe Dean is reportedly falling 10, 15 spots from where he was a week ago. Linderbaum, I've seen out of the first round even lately, or into the mid to late 20s. Do you think they would take him if he was on the board? Let's just say the 2 guards, Zion Johnson and Kenyon Green, are gone, but Linderbaum's on the board. You think they take him?
I think that's a spot where you decide to move down because of what you said. He's falling down boards for some reason right now, and my guess is that teams are going back and looking at the tape again and again now, and maybe they're just deciding, he is a center. That's where he's going to be best. For us to try to move him to guard, he's never going to be an exceptional guard, and so he's going to be a one-position guy. I think that, to me, that's a fallback position, and to me, that's like fallback position C or D. I think fallback position, 1 is take a safety. Fallback position 2, take a cornerback. And then this is assuming that Kenyon Green, Zion Johnson aren't there, because I think those are the guys they probably want more than anything. Now, there's a chance that this guy, Bernard Raymond, out of Michigan, could fall. I've seen some talk about that. It seems a little bit odd. He looks like a middle of the round guy, but that could happen. If it does, I think they like him too. But I think their number one priority, find an offensive lineman who can step in right now, or at least push somebody, maybe play by midseason to protect Brady better. But I think the fallback position is a safety or a cornerback who can possibly play safety, because I think they want to fill that Jordan Whitehead spot. So, and then after that, I think you go at a guy who's primarily a center and can play guard. The thing about, Zion Johnson and Kenyon Green, they're guards who can play tackle. They've played everywhere on the line, except center. They've played everywhere on the line, and they've played effectively. So you can put them at right tackle. You can put them at left tackle. You can put them at either guard spot. This year they can play one position, and next year they can move to another, a la Ali Marpet. So, that's the guy all of a sudden that they have to really replace. And granted, they filled that hole in free agency, but you can get better there for the long term. And I think they see an opportunity in this draft for him. So that's what I think they're targeting.
All right, take a nap, because they're not picking before 11 o'clock. So take a nap.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Roy.
For sure, I'll be doing it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Roy Cummings, pewterpirates.com is where you can see his work. pewterpirates.com. He's covered the Bucs for a long time. Follow Roy on Twitter, rcummings, FHCN, Roy Cummings.
My man crush on one injured player. If the Bucs are sitting there and Ajabu's there, it's another guy that I wouldn't be afraid to take if I were the Bucs. Losing JPP.
Stash.
And because I believe he's going to play in 2022. I just don't believe he's going to play until November, December. Similar to Vita Vea, who they drafted, got hurt and brought back.
All right, I'm just going to throw this out there. If you're the Bucs and you want either Kenyon Green or Zion Johnson, I think you're going to have to get ahead of Dallas at 24. So do you trade up with Arizona at 23? Something like that. The other thing is, if by chance you don't and Linderbaum's on the board, does Cincinnati move up from 31 to 27? Because they need a center.
And that fills out their free agency, what they did on the offensive line.
And also they have to be worried because Green Bay and 2 Kansas City picks are ahead of them. And since, Kansas City could trade out one of their 2 and Green Bay's already taken a first. So just a couple of things to keep in mind with the Bucs at 27.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
RCB, here's an interesting one to me. Arizona does not have a 4th or a 5th round pick. Arizona's picking at 23. So they have a 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd, and then they don't pick again till 201. Can Tampa get away with moving up 4 spots in the 1st round just by offering their 4th round pick? Because Arizona doesn't have one. Because I think Tampa's going to have to get ahead of Dallas to get the guard they want. Tennessee does not have a 2nd round pick. So the Titans are drafting at 26 and at 90.
All right, what's your 4th round? Oh, come on. 4th round Tampa is where?
133.
133. Okay. And you're trying to move from where?
27 to 23.
By the chart, it's not enough.
Right.
You need to give more like a 3rd.
Right.
Or but pick 100 is about where you'd have to give.
Right.
Just for what?
Right. No, I know.
I had to look at, because I need to get better. I should probably print this out just for trades tonight. I'll have that. I'll have one of these printed out.
So do you throw in a 5th rounder next year as well? Remember, if you're the Bucs, you are year to year here. I mean, this is probably your last year to go after a Super Bowl for a while. I would not be, you know. Remember, Tampa Bay gave up a 4th round pick to move up 1 spot to make sure that they got Wirfs a couple years ago. Well, but remember, DC, they're not going. The Tampa's the only team to move up 4 spots.
All right, everybody has hit the follow button, right? Let's get to important stuff right now. Are we continuing here? Yeah, we got JP next. We're going to rattle off a few of these.
JP's, I think.
No, I know. 20,
right.
Yeah. As always, our draft falls to the Baltimore Ravens to get the exact guy they want. Funny how that happens whenever we do a draft.
Houston's on the clock here.
Okay, yeah, Houston could crush their hopes and dreams.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. JP Shadrick, part of the Jags organization, really. Does pre and post. Does all their .com work year-round. JP to join us a little more than 15 minutes time. We started a little over an hour ago. We just went through an informal Miller and Moulton mock draft. Who we would take for the teams. Not who, we're not trying to predict who they're going to take. We're not trying to say, well, this is what everybody who's covering the team is mocking for them. This is who we would take if we were drafting for these teams. And we went Evan Neal with Jacksonville, Hutchinson for the Lions, Gardner for Houston, Thibodeau for the Jets, Cross, the tackle from Mississippi State for the Giants. We played it safe and went Ekwonu, the tackle for Carolina from NC State. So the big three tackles were gone by 6 for us. We went Stingley at 7 in a debate as to do we go corner or edge for the Giants. We went corner, which meant that the pass rusher, Atlanta did the happy dance. Got the Georgia kid, Travon Walker, at 8. And then, okay, we're Seattle, a little bummed. They settle for Jermaine Johnson, edge rusher at 9. Then we go skill player, Jamison Williams, first wide receiver off the board at 10 for the Jets. Washington, not crazy with how things have gone. Go with Kyle Hamilton because he fits Ron Rivera perfectly. Vikings have a need at corner. Could have gone in a couple different directions. Little bit of a reach, but we go McDuffie, a corner from Washington, for the Vikings at 12, and now Houston would be on the clock at 13.
And Houston needs interior linemen. They need an edge rusher, but the big 3 are gone. I don't think they would. Big 4 are gone. I don't know if they reach for the Purdue kid, who's the next guy I have as an edge rusher rated.
Karlaftis from Purdue, George Karlaftis. Pat talked about him. He thinks he's a little overrated. Karlaftis to him is a late first, early second pick.
They need a linebacker. They already grabbed the corner. They need wide receivers. Is this where wide receiver number 2 goes? And I think that it would be, David.
Yeah, and it should, quite frankly. I mean, I think Houston should go by the Philadelphia train of thought. Philadelphia is like, we don't know if this guy's our quarterback, but you know what? We're going to build the team around him, and a couple years down the road, we'll decide. I think Houston should do the same thing. Build a team around Davis Mills, and then whether it's the end of this year or end of 2023, make the decision. So who are we going? Garrett Wilson, Ohio State?
From Ohio State.
And of course, it doesn't matter whether it's a mock draft,
a real draft, who's doing the mock draft. Everything just falls into the Baltimore Ravens' hands.
And so
they run to the podium right now.
Right. For Jordan Davis, big old defensive tackle from Georgia, who just looks like a Baltimore Raven.
He really does.
And I will say now it's interesting for Philadelphia. There's only 2 wide receivers off the board. You've got a real need at wide receiver. You go a bunch of different areas. I mean, I think they could go Linderbaum. I know nobody is mocking him to the Eagles and to this high also, but my guess is they go wide receiver here.
I would think so because I just, who do you have Lloyd as your number 1 rated linebacker, the kid from Utah, and things that you're looking at? Where do you have, how's your linebacker?
Most people right now have Lloyd. I would pick one of the Georgia kids myself.
I know that. And there is a canyon in my ratings between the Georgia kids and this kid from Utah, but I just don't, because there's a need defensively at linebacker for the Eagles.
Here's the thing, though, if I'm Philly, I'm taking a wide receiver at 15 because I think I can get the linebacker at 18.
100%.
So, because once again, I'm counting on the Saints. They need a tackle. They need a wide receiver. They need a safety.
So do you go in London or Olave here?
Well, I would go Olave because he's faster. London's a bigger, more physical receiver. He's a former basketball player. He's great in the one-on-one jump ball situations, London. Olave's faster.
Much.
Smoother. So I would go Olave, team him up on the other side of Devontae Smith. And this is a position, by the way, the Eagles just can't get right. Now,
No.
I think they got it right with Devontae, but man, have they had troubles the 5 years previous trying to find a wide receiver. They're moving Ortega-Whiteside there to tight end. Rieger's clearly a bust. So let's hope for the Eagles' sake 2 years in a row they hit on wide receivers. They'll be set for the rest of the decade.
Which leads us to New Orleans at pick 16.
And they're going, damn, we wanted Olave. But okay,
I think there was part of them when Hamilton started falling, they were loving that because
Yes.
if somehow Hamilton falls to 16, there's another team that I would think sprint to the card.
Well, and once again, if he gets to you at 16, do you roll the dice and think he'll get to you at 19?
I wouldn't with that kind of talent. I'd take the pick and say, I can get what I want at 20. Because like you pointed out, where are they with London? He was not fast at all.
Well, he's,
I know he's coming off an injury.
Right, he broke his ankle. He wasn't ready to run a 40 time when it came time to run the 40s. His workout, he didn't look particularly good. He's an interesting, some people think he's going to be the best wide receiver in this group, and others are like, he's only played 2 years of college ball at receiver. His freshman year, he was a basketball player.
But I think the Chargers may want to tackle. Do you go tackle here and take Penning to make sure? Because I don't think he'll be there with your next pick.
And so in amongst the Saints at 16 and 19, clearly they want to tackle. See, if I'm the Saints, I'm taking the tackle at 16.
I am too, because I don't think he'll be there when I pick at 19.
And then if you're, the Chargers they went out and got Khalil Mack. So do they really need to go and take Karlaftis, the edge rusher, or do they go, how about an interior lineman? Very unsexy pick here for the Chargers at 17, plug and play type of deal. Thank you very much. Although they're, who the Chargers really want is Jordan Davis. I mean, their interior rush defense was terrible. So my guess, Mark, is they would go either Logan Hall from Houston or Devontae Wyatt from Georgia.
I had Wyatt circled when you started this.
Because they're going to go, they could go interior on either side of the line. Now, think about what we've just talked through. We're basically now to the Steelers at 20. No quarterback yet.
Right. And I think, I would agree with you on Wyatt. I'd take the Georgia kid over the Houston kid. If my grades are similar, I'm definitely going with the kid that played in the SEC.
So we just did a really informal, trying not to get too nitty gritty mock draft over the course of an hour and a half. And the first wide receiver didn't go till 10. And we're at 20 with no quarterback. I don't think the Steelers are going quarterback, by the way, but let me tell you, if it falls this way, I do think they look at when the Saints are on the clock at 19 and they go, okay, if they don't take a quarterback, now or never, boys. We can't blame this on anyone else. We got the whole draft. We like any of these guys, or are we sticking with Mitch Trubisky? Kevin Colbert's like, well, I'm out of a job in 48 hours.
Yeah, I don't really care. I got a couple picks to make, and then I got a tea time Monday morning, and I am done with this.
Right. I mean, can I still get on Oakmont if I'm the former GM of the Steelers?
Yes, but it's a 2:10 tea time, and you're coming as a single.
Miller and Moulton. JP Shadrick, Jags on the clock in less than 12 hours. Who are they going to take? David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I don't know. The brown shirt. He just threw a nice pass. I'm like, who is this guy?
God, New Yorkers must love that they close traffic off for two yahoos come onto the street and do this.
It's only till 10 o'clock. I'm trying to figure out where they are in the city.
Can't get that street.
No, I know.
He's completely dead.
Come on.
Oh. Fired. All right, this segment's actually getting better. Without even sound, it's getting better. He is completely winded right now.
Sure, of course
you can
he is.
see him breathe. Oh, drop it. Drop it.
He just lost his
Sunglasses are...
And he's a workout guy, too.
I know. Oh, absolutely. 100%, Klecko. Lost his sunglasses. That's just, he's...
Yeah, his wireless, everything. He's like, give me this stick. Look at him. I want to know who the guy is. I got to admit, he looks like he could be Bledsoe. I don't think he is, but
Yeah, Bledsoe's on the other coast. You think he's
well, and he's older, but face, height. Who is that with Kyle Brandt?
Felipe.
Who is that with Kyle Brandt?
Who's in the dark shirt?
Isn't that he played quarterback for the Patriots?
You think that's Bledsoe?
No, not Drew Bledsoe. He played quarterback for the Patriots the year that Brady got injured in 08.
Bledsoe.
That was Bledsoe.
No, it wasn't Bledsoe. Matt Castle.
Is that Matt Castle?
It doesn't look like Matt Castle to me.
Oh, now we're back. No, Deebo Samuel.
Oh, yeah, back to the...
That's what we need. Him getting moved at 10 to the Jets. David.
Yeah.
Yes, I would want him on my team. I would also want Devontae Adams. I would also, come on. Wouldn't it be great if he said, but OBJ wouldn't be bad either. They would go into a frenzy in New York. They would freak right out.
I actually think it would be a good signing for the Jets. I don't know if he'll play much at all this year, but you sign him to a 3-year deal. It's only money, and you got a lot of it.
JP's on hold or come back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. A reminder, JP Shadrick's working the draft tonight. We're working the draft tonight. We're on Twitch. He's on
everything else.
Yeah, really. Where are you tonight besides Jaguars.com?
Well, let's see. We've got Jaguars.com. We've got Jaguars social media channels. We'll have Jaguars radio from 7 to midnight. I'll hop in that a little bit. We're in Daly's place at the draft party. All our shows are going on there. We'll be live after the pick on the team site reacting.
Well, also, aren't you live? Don't you have like an international channel too because of all your games in London?
So we did a draft special that aired on Monday of this week on Sky Sports NFL. It's a 24-hour NFL channel in the UK. So we do a weekly show during the season called, shockingly, Jaguars Weekly UK. And we do a draft special, an hour-long draft special. It already aired this week. I think there's some reruns as the week goes along. But yes, we have a year-round presence in the UK in more ways than one.
Do you ever think about faking the accent?
Going Brian Kelly.
What am I, the LSU coach? What are we doing? Can't do that.
Come on, just for a little bit. So you got caught up in it.
No. We're good. I know where I'm from. I know where I'm not from. So that's fine.
JP Shadrick for a decade now, part of the Jaguars radio network. You can follow JP on Twitter, much like how they name their shows. You can follow JP at JP Shadrick.
All right, JP, this has been incredibly fascinating watching the Jags seemingly have named their pick, changed their pick, and changed their pick. What's going to happen tonight? What's your hunch? Do you have anything?
Well, those are the reports that they've made their pick and changed their pick. We don't know that. I mean, there's only a handful of people who know really what they're thinking. And I believe Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson when they spoke last Friday at the pre-draft luncheon and said,
we're down to 4 guys. We're considering 4. We're going to go through our final checks, and we'll make a decision when it's time to make a decision. And I'm going to guess, I haven't talked to anybody today, but I'm going to guess they probably had their final big meetings last night with the owner in town and have made a collective decision, and they're not going to tell anybody before 8:15 tonight. So maybe they've gone through some things. I'm sure different people probably have different preferences. Hey, I like this guy a little more than the other guy, but they'll come together as a group. I don't know if they've changed their mind 5 times. Maybe they have, but all that matters is if you get that card in on time with pick number 1, and whatever that is, everybody will make the effort and make it right.
Listen, we would go tackle, and our thinking, and even with signing Cam Robinson to the 3-year extension yesterday, and our philosophy is simple. You got to do everything possible to make life great for the quarterback. That's how you win in this league. And you eventually can pick up pieces, give up picks, get players elsewhere. But you got to get the quarterback and the offense right. And I would do everything possible, and so would Mark. We'd draft Evan Neal. He's the most versatile of the tackles, and I put him at right tackle. We think eventually he'll replace Cam at left, and that's where we would go. If they did that and that was their line of thinking, would you have a problem with that? Would the fan base have a problem with that?
I wouldn't be shocked by that approach. Think about the way those teams in Philadelphia were built also, right, around Doug Peterson when they had success with the Eagles. They had an offensive line that wouldn't quit. I mean, they built it up. They could do anything they wanted to on offense, run the ball, throw the ball, whatever, right? So remember the lay of the land here, right? Yeah, they extended Cam Robinson. There's a question mark at left guard. There's a question mark at center. Tyler Shatley is the guy right now, but Brandon Linder retired, University of Miami product, so he's out. So it's Shatley, who's been here for about 8 years as a backup swing interior lineman. Right guard is Sheriff, who was brought in free agency, and the right tackle is either Jawan Taylor from Florida or Walker Little, who could compete for that spot, who was a second-round pick last year out of Stanford. He's still around here also. I think the question for me is, what is the deeper position group? Is it better to take that offensive lineman can be a starter right away, or are there enough defensive linemen, pass rushers available that you can live with that you can take maybe at 33 overall? I think there are more pass rushers than there are tackles, offensive linemen that are worthy of that number 1 pick. So that's why I think it could be lineman 1, defensive lineman at 33 overall, or, move back up a couple spots late in the first round if you really want that special guy. So, and for me, I think Taquanu over Neal, to be quite honest with you. If he's gonna have to play guard. He's gonna have to play guard. I know Neal's played guard in his past. Taquanu's a big physical guy who finishes, and you hear this guy off the field is incredible. So for me, I think it's probably Taquanu over Neal if they're going that way, but that's just me.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's our first upset of the show. That is a University of Alabama grad recommending the NC State tackle over the Alabama tackle. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our first shocker of the day.
Well, they already have it. They already extended the Alabama tackle 3 more years. Cam Robinson.
I understand. I'm just pointing it out to our audience. That would be a shocker for General Manager J.P. Shadrick.
And General Manager J.P. Shadrick, is this a draft where, there's 2 in the 3rd, and we know you're picking first for a reason. This has got to be 4 starters for the Jags out of this draft, right?
Oh, it should be, right? They won 3 games last year. Let's get real. And they've got some changes. They've sent a lot of guys who've been around here, 4, 5, 6, 7 years are no longer here now. Miles Jack's gone. As we said, Brandon Linder's out. Do you go get a young center somehow and figure that out and just have that guy in your back pocket? You need some linebacker depth, I think. So, yeah, they filled some immediate needs in free agency, but you still need to supplement that with some guys who can jump in right away and aren't on that free agent contract. So Yeah, I'm with you. Certainly the first 2 rounds, those first 4 picks, there's 2 picks in the 3rd round. First 2 days, I think you need guys that are on the field. Absolutely.
All right. Let's just go with Mark's theory. Picks 1, 33, 65, and 70 need to get 4 starters. Give me the 4 positions then. Your strongest to weakest, so the 4 weakest positions for the Jags, in theory, they would plug 4 starters in where?
Pass rusher. I'm counting that, even though it might be 1 down. Offensive lineman. We need something there,
right.
Whether it's the guard or
right.
whatever. Let's say guard or center, right? One of those interior guys.
Okay.
That's 2. Deep threat wide receiver, speed guy. And the way wide receiver contracts are going these days, you better draft a wide receiver, right? Because you don't want to go pay for those guys in free agency.
Well, no, because you guys just did that.
And had to overpay.
I know. Yes, but we had to get them in.
Yep.
Right.
That fills a certain. That's 3, and the linebacker. I think they've got some guys there, but it's not as deep as you think at linebacker for this team. So that's where I'm at right now. Those are the 4 for me.
I'll say this, Mark. If they go pass rusher then at 1, they can fill interior offensive lineman, linebacker, wide receiver with 33, 65, 70.
Yes, they can.
Right. That's right.
Yes,
That's
they
right.
can.
That's the other view of it, right? I mean, you could do it backwards. You could do it that other way. We talked about tackle early, pass rusher at 33. You could do pass rusher at 1 and then get the interior guy if you're comfortable with the outside players on your line. I mean, you could get a wide receiver at 33 if you wanted.
I mean, listen, Linderbaum may be there at 33 if people in the last.
I think you run to the desk on day 2 with the cart if he's there at 33.
Right.
That's my opinion.
Also, and as you mentioned, if you start getting close, like, if he's on the board at 30 and you're worried the Bengals are going to take him at 31, well, you got 4 6th-round picks. You got a 4th-round pick and a 5th-round pick. You could call Kansas City up and go, hey, in a strange way, you can sometimes get more for 33 than you can for 30 because people have the night to sleep on it and what have you.
And deal it if they want to as well.
Right. And you could just say to Kansas City, hey, listen, what is it going to take? A little something, we can get to 30. We'll take Linderbaum away from the Bengals, bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, it's it's what it is. It's not impossible. And we've talked about that around here too. That number 33 pick, it's a night to sleep on it. Reevaluate your board, your needs, and a lot of teams get antsy of what teams are behind you in that 2nd round, and then all of a sudden the trading can begin. Now, I always kind of feel like we talk about these trade scenarios, and things can happen, and you can move up, and nothing ever happens, at least in the Jaguars world. So let's see if we will trade 6th rounders till the cows come home, but then 1st and 2nd round, it just ends up being what it is for some reason. So we'll see if that stands true again this year. I don't know.
A year ago, it was Urban, it was Trevor Lawrence. There was all this excitement. What's the level of excitement of Jags fans after the year that has just passed?
Well, that's a good one. I think they're cautiously optimistic. Let's say that. There's a sense of normalcy again, at least on the coaching side of things, right? So, because Doug Peterson's been in the league since 1991 as a player, he's not having to learn the league and the practice schedule and practice rules and all. He's known it his whole professional life. So take that out. They're already getting to work and not having to worry about all this other stuff. So that, I think the players, at least the players we've heard from so far in the off-season program, are, hey, this is what it's supposed to be. This is a professional football environment, and that's a good start at least. So let's go with that. And I think the fans are starting to see a little bit of that in the reporting of the off-season program.
JP, final question. ATN's health. You going to be ready? Everything going to be a go?
I passed him in the hallway yesterday, Dave, and I said, "What's up? How you doing?" He flashed that big smile of his and was eating popcorn walking down the hall and about to go out of the meeting room. And he said, "Yeah, I'm in pretty good shape." So, and I've seen him a couple times. He's moving pretty well. He's doing some cutting on the field, he says. So, it may not be like tomorrow, but last time he talked, he said he's 85%, somewhere in that range. I don't know how you calculate percentages, by the way, but that's better than 50. I'll say that. So I think by training camp, the expectation is that he should be ready to roll, and let's go and get him out there and play. And now James Robinson's the other question mark. He's got the boot off. He's walking around also, but I don't think he's doing quite as much yet. He's coming off an Achilles injury. That's a little more difficult. Well, they're both difficult. They're all easy when they're not happening to you.
Exactly.
So, but I think that one's going to take a little bit longer into training camp than ETN. I think Travis will be ready to roll.
All right, JP, get a nap if you can. Have a great night.
Hey, good to talk to you guys always. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. JP Shadrick, Jags Radio Network. Follow him on Twitter at JP Shadrick. We've obviously talked about the teams who have the first-round picks. Chicago, Denver, Cleveland, Miami, Las Vegas, San Francisco, Rams, Colts. They're the 8 teams who don't have a first-round pick. Chicago's on the clock they have 2 seconds, though, at 39 and 48. And they have Robert Quinn, who they can trade and get something for. This young GM now, he doesn't have a 4th-round pick. So I could see the Bears, moving down. I could see the Bears trading Quinn here, getting more assets. Denver's got the last pick of the 2nd round, 2 3rd-round picks, 2 4th-round picks.
Yeah, Denver has no ammo to move into the 1st round unless they're doing something with next year's pick.
Miami doesn't pick till 102. The Rams don't pick till 104. Right. What's interesting about the Niners is even though they don't have a 1st-round pick, they have 9 draft picks. Same with Denver, by the way.
But the Niners not the first pick till 61 overall. They have 2/3. So not the kind of ammo you're looking at to make a big splash unless they're using 2023 draft capital.
Rams have the last pick of the 3rd round. They have the last pick of the 4th round. Was mentioned by Mark Zinno earlier on the show. They have done a great job on day 3 picking up starters, and they have a bunch of day 3 picks. 7 of their 8 picks are day 3 picks. So there you have it. Our draft coverage is at 7:45 tonight on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. We hope that you all will join us then. The bonus hour is next.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program,
The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So, once again, no quarterbacks, no running backs, no tight ends. And by the way, no interior offensive lineman. We haven't had a guard or a center go yet.
Let's have a little fun here just to start, because we didn't give yesterday's poll results, and we put a poll question up an hour and a half ago and haven't even said it on the air yet.
Wow.
That is vintage Miller and Moulton.
That really is. We've got some strengths, but boy, do we have some weaknesses. And we don't have to tell you that. Felipe, what are you going to watch tonight? NBA?
Basketball.
The draft.
Oh,
Bull.
I didn't know.
I have 2 TVs.
Yeah, one on each game.
There you go.
Come on, you know the question.
You'll be watching basketball.
Which one will have the volume?
Mark, I'm just like you, man.
Which one will have the volume?
Well, when Goodell's on the screen,
Probably his computer
draft.
watching the Twitch show.
When Goodell's on the screen, the draft, but all the analysis, all that.
You know, it would be funny. Felipe, I will text you if you're up, just to make sure you're up watching. At some point, we may have to bring him in mid-draft on camera to give us an NBA update. You get 15 seconds, and we take you off the Twitch.
I will happily join.
Funnier than shit.
I will happily join. I'll give the NBA update that no one asked for.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's the way you do it.
Yep.
And then you just leave. You sign you pull a Kirkshin. You hang up on us before we can hang up on you.
Yep. Right now, for useless information.
Well, Klecko, it won't be a shock if Jacksonville takes him first. I mean, to be fair, I would love Jacksonville to take Hutchinson, because then it will make the draft more interesting to me. I mean, literally, the top tight end I have is a 2nd to 3rd round grade. And he's saying tight end in the 1st round. I'd fall over if Trey McBride gets taken in the 1st round.
Have you guys ever seen the video of the Vikings draft board laughing to the Eagles pick of Jalen Reagor?
Oh, it's well, first off, how about most of the people who follow college football? I mean, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Imagine if the Eagles had Justin Jefferson. Oh my God. Jalen Reagor. You gotta be kidding me.
I remember thinking to myself,
as much as is humanly possible, Canada Relief. I mean, David's working most Saturdays, so.
But I mean, we did 6 LSU games that year, and I remember thinking, there's no way this kid from Arizona State's better than this receiver. It's not possible.
Come back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the fourth and final hour. It is the bonus hour. The show that flew by today, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. It's draft day, baby, 11 hours from now. Goodell stepped to the mic. He'll be booed. I think the booing will be more party in Vegas, or it's such a big party that he'll be better received.
You know, after the pandemic and not people at the draft and all of these things, wouldn't you just hope that with the crowd, they might let loose and just cheer for once? And I'm being serious. I know they're going to boo, but come on, man.
Why did they start booing him again? Because remember, at first when he got the gig,
Right.
they cheered him. He was popular. What did he do to become unpopular again? Man, that had to be a long time ago, because it certainly feels that way. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us. Listen, we did it again. You know,
Guilty, Your Honor. Guilty.
and if you've listened to us for a while, I mean, obviously we've got some strengths. It's why you listen. It's why we keep getting rehired. But man, do we have a couple weaknesses.
Glaring.
Woo.
Glaring. When they put us up on the draft board,
Wow.
strengths, draft day,
Yeah.
somewhat slightly entertaining. There'll be a bunch of stuff on the positive.
Somewhat successful.
Right.
Right.
Negatives. Have no idea how to get a poll question up. And when they do, they don't let the audience know.
Everything having to do with a poll question.
Everything.
Thinking of one, posting it, promoting it. Awful.
So to review, we're 3 hours plus into the show today.
Correct.
Yesterday's poll question results.
Wow. Usually we get around to that in our 6 o'clock hour.
Right. Usually the second segment of the show.
So for our West Coast audience, and we don't mean West Coast of Florida, to the guy, we have one diehard listener who listens to us and watches us live every day from San Diego. All right. Every day.
So
Here we
San
go.
Diego. Go. Oh, sorry. Wrong show.
Hello.
What was your favorite non-toast breakfast bread? The bagel comes in getting nearly 40% of the vote.
So-
Big numbers out of Broward and Dade County last night, David.
To pull away from English muffin?
It pulled away from English muffin. Biscuit coming in third. Croissant with just under 15%.
Sounds about right.
I think it did a little better than I thought. But today, we had a poll question up at 7 o'clock hour.
Right.
We are yet to let anybody on the show know that we have a poll question.
No, it was posted 2 hours ago. We just haven't told you about it.
So which of the potential first-round quarterbacks will have the best NFL career? Pickett, Willis, or Desmond Ridder?
I like that. We didn't include, obviously,
The two guys that
Corral and Howell. We didn't. We thought about it. We thought about putting them together in a hyphenated vote.
But right now, Willis getting 44% of the vote. Very light voting because no one's aware that there was a poll question.
Correct.
So go to FL Sports Network, that Mark Miller, and at some point, the David Moulton.
No. I think I voted and retweeted it.
Did you?
I think I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I voted Ridder, by the way, who I think will have the most successful career. I think Ritter's going to the Titans at 26. I've been on that
You have been
basically
on
the
that.
whole month.
You have.
Well,
You have. And with that being said, we are now at Pittsburgh in our own mock draft. We advanced a couple of picks during the break.
Well, not true. We actually kind of sort of said the teams and what they were looking for, and we mentioned the names. We just didn't necessarily run the card up to Goodell. So that's all we did during the break.
So we ran the cards up on Devin Lloyd, the linebacker from Utah,
For the Eagles with their second first rounder at 18.
and Drake London, the receiver from USC for New Orleans at 19.
So the Eagles come away at 15 and 18 with a wide receiver and a linebacker. The Saints at 16 and 19 come away with a tackle and a wide receiver. So we're 19 picks in for the record. And we think this breakdown will be pretty damn close to what the breakdown will be. 4 defensive ends, 4 wide receivers, 4 offensive tackles, 3 corners, 2 defensive tackles, a safety, and a linebacker. That's where we are 19 picks in. What's missing?
Quarterback,
running backs, tight ends. 19 picks in, none of those have been taken. Now, I think that's how tonight's going to play out, to be honest with you. I don't think the quarterbacks are going to go early.
The question is, will one go at 20?
I don't believe so.
If they just sign Mitchell Trubisky, now the only thing is, I think Pickett would be in play.
You think Pickett over Willis?
Yes.
See, I don't. I think if the Steelers are shooting here, they're shooting for the home run. I mean, if you're the Steelers, do you really think Kenny Pickett's better than Mitchell Trubisky? And if so, by how much? And you just signed Trubisky for 2 years. I mean, do you think Pickett's going to be as good or better than Trubisky in these next 2 years?
I don't. But I'm just telling you, with the whole Pittsburgh, Marino screwing up thing before, there's no way you can tell me that it's not in play.
I'll say this. If you're one of the other teams, if Pickett's on the board at 20 and the Steelers don't take him, and you're thinking about taking him, do you turn and look at one another and go, well, hell, he's been in their building for the last 4 years and they didn't take him? What are we thinking? Look, I know nobody thinks this. I think Pittsburgh's going to take Linderbaum at 20. I think they're just going to walk up. They're going to hand him the card. They're going to go, look at our history at center. Mike Webster, Dermontti Dawson, Pouncey, Linderbaum. These are being our centers for the next 50, 60 years. I do. I think they're, put it this way, what we don't have, so in our draft, we do not have an interior offensive lineman. We don't have Linderbaum. We don't have Zion Johnson, the guard from BC. We don't have Kenyon Green, the guard tackle from Texas A&M. They're all on the board.
I had Zion Johnson circled here.
Fine.
And I mean, I'm not, well, and I was going to say fine. I was going to say the same thing to you because Pittsburgh has a need at guard. They have a need at tackle.
I really think the Steelers are just going to do a very Steelers-like thing, and they're going to go, or this is the guy we have rated as the best offensive lineman left. We have a need on the offensive line. We are not going to overthink this. The Steelers, by the way, only have 7 draft picks, no 5th-round pick, and 2 7th-rounders. So they have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 6 to go with 2 7s. So not a sexy draft for Kevin Colbert in his final draft. I'm sure there's a part of them that would contemplate trading out. If the draft fell this way and you're Pittsburgh and you're like, well, hell, all our interior offensive linemen are still on the board.
And then who are you on the phone with to try to move? Cincinnati?
Well,
in the division? Probably not.
No, but what if somebody wants to move up for a wide receiver like Treylon Burks? What if somebody wants to move up for the edge rusher Karlaftis?
Well, and I would call Buffalo. Would be the first team I would call just to see what their brain is.
What if somebody wants to draft a quarterback? Although there's no real concern that New England and Green Bay and Arizona and Dallas and Buffalo are going to draft a quarterback, but you could worry that one or more of them will trade out.
But if Tennessee's interested, I'd call Tennessee. I would call Buffalo. I would call Tampa to see if they're interested in grabbing one of these interior linemen. Absolutely. But we don't do trades in our mock. I'll go with you and take Linderbaum, the center. It makes perfect sense when you really step back and think of that history at that position for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
For the record, those following the NFL in the last few days have been saying that Nakobe Dean, linebacker Georgia, Tyler Linderbaum, center Iowa, they're dropping 10, 15 plus spots for whatever reason.
Now New England's on the board at 21.
Belichick's, I think, the greatest coach of all time. He cannot draft a wide receiver worth a damn.
No.
And there's
And I
no one
think he
apparently in the organization that knows anything about him either.
And I think he should right here.
Yes.
I think you should be getting Bucs from Arkansas right now.
It works for me. I mean, do you go speed and Christian Watson, North Dakota State? I mean, he ran in the 4.2s. The Patriots may be the slowest team in the league. Burks, by the way, really impressed in the Alabama game. Really impressed in the Alabama game. And he's got size and better speed than you think.
Are you sure that North Dakota State player might not be there for them the next round?
I don't think he'll be there at 54. I don't. If for no other reason, Mark, than the Packers are picking at 53.
Okay. All right.
So I don't think they can get him in the second round, no.
But I will say at that point, New England's sitting there with a couple of picks. They could move up with a 6th round and get ahead of them 2 spots.
I think Watson would go significantly before that, actually. I think he would go in the high 30s to low 40s.
Wow. Okay.
Well, when you run 4.2 and change, you're going to go higher than maybe you quote unquote should.
Fair enough. Because New England's a team that they have a cornerback need. I don't know if there's a corner worth taking there.
Well, I'll say this. Belichick loves his Gators.
I know. And even though my book has Booth rated ahead of the Florida player, he's been ripping up the charts. Elam there.
So we'll go. Remember, in the last 2 years, they've lost Gilmore and Jackson. You just lost J.C. Jackson.
Which they don't take receivers in the first round.
Well, no, they don't. And when they do, they get it wrong. So we'll plug them in for Elam, the corner. And Green Bay now, hey, they got no excuse. They want Treylon Burks. They want Dotson from Penn State. They want Pickens from Georgia. They want Christian Watson. I mean, all those receivers on the board. But then again, very quietly, the Packers have some offensive line issues, Mark. Very quietly. Nothing crazy. Then you got Arizona and Dallas.
Green Bay's got to take a receiver here. I'm sorry.
I would think so as well. And
I like your thought with Watson there for speed.
I think they would go Burks, by the way, over Watson. But and then I think Arizona would go Karlaftis, the edge from Purdue, and Dallas could get their guard that they desperately need.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed sub with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You're totally right, because I have seen that.
For the record, Tennessee will be on the clock and every quarterback will be on the board.
Yep.
And I am telling you, they are taking Desmond Ridder.
Is that you? Have you seen that anywhere? Or you?
He is a Mike Vrabel quarterback. And Luke Fickell and Mike Vrabel are close.
They're tight, right? I'm gonna go to the restroom.
Yeah, well, Baker's not going to be dealt before the first round. Right. Yeah, Fickell and Vrabel are close. I really believe, I've been saying it the whole month of April. I think Ritter's going to the Titans. Now, they don't have a second round pick, so, and here they are thinking they're a Super Bowl contender, and they're not going to get anything out of this draft to help until the third round for this year. But I don't think they can pass it up. They also have cap issues in a hurry. I think they're going to have to move on from Tannehill. He'll cost them $19 million in dead cap space next year. I'm totally with you, RCB. We said it an hour ago, and that's why I think the Bucs, can they get Arizona to bite at 23? Are they going to have to do a deal with the Patriots at 21 or Pittsburgh at 20? I'm totally with you. They have to get ahead of the Cowboys. I think they're going to have to give up a pick in next year's draft because they only have a second, a third, a fourth, and then they don't pick again till the seventh. We looked up the points chart. The fourth round pick is not enough points to go from 27 to 23. You'd have to basically give up your third rounder to do it, and we don't think the Bucs will want to do that.
Damn, it's chilly in here.
Yeah.
You notice when you leave the room. That's why I try not to leave the room.
Well, and it's funny. So your room was warm this morning.
My hands are frosting. He's got getting away from the cop speed.
I don't think Cindy will, but I think Cincy might. No, hey, look at. I think any team that can trade back will trade back tonight. The problem is we do this every year, and the one thing that I've learned, and I think David and I have both learned, is that as much as there are spots for teams to trade back, that they don't like to lose the trade value chart and won't accept less value to trade down. When I believe, and I don't know if you do, David, I've always believed, hey, if you want to trade down and you're not getting 100% value and you need players, trade down for 90, 95% value. But teams don't do that.
It's difficult for me to imagine Kansas City is going to sit tight at 29 and 30. They have 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, and 2 4s. Now, Soren Petro 2 days ago said, the back end of this roster is not that good.
Yeah.
And that he could see them
and cap
taking
issues.
Yeah, he could see them taking most of those guys. The Bengals don't normally move either way. I do think there's a chance somebody convinces them to move out of 31, though, if somebody wants to move back in for a quarterback at 31.
Come back.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Today was the day when, good, bad, and ugly, what's on tap, final thoughts on this NFL Draft Thursday. Thanks for being with us. We've done a very informal mock draft today. Just who we would take. Not what we hear they're going to take, and we're not trying to pretend that we're something that we're not. But we're about 2/3 of the way through the first round. Haven't had a quarterback taken. Haven't had a running back taken. Haven't had a tight end taken. Green Bay was on the clock when we went to break. We said we were going to pick a wide receiver for him. We settled on Arkansas wideout Treylon Burks. Arizona at 23, we thought, well, they'll address edge rusher. That's George Karlaftis from Purdue. And that gets Dallas on the clock at 24. And let me tell you, Dallas would love our mock draft to play out.
Right, because they can choose between which guard they want.
Zion Johnson from BC or Kenyon Green from A&M, who, by the way, can play tackle, which, considering the Cowboys veterans on the offensive line and the injuries that they've had, a versatile offensive lineman might not be the worst thing in the world for the Cowboys.
No, and that would probably be the difference maker. If they think the more positions he could play, it probably leans them in that direction, David. And as you pointed out during the break to me, they've worked him out a lot.
In part because I think deep down they don't believe that Johnson, the kid from BC, will be there.
I don't know how you pass on Johnson if he's there. But we've been wrong a lot when it comes to these things, and versatility is important.
So we're going to go Green from A&M, stay in state, or Johnson? Johnson's rated higher.
Johnson's rated higher.
All right, let's go Johnson.
All right.
Which then puts Buffalo on the clock, and we do need to say this. We don't have any info, goodness knows. But in the last 48 hours, if there's going to be a running back taken by a team that does not trade into the first round to take one, the thought is Buffalo may take the kid from Iowa State, Breece Hall. And I will tell you, when Josh Allen's the best running back and the guy that you trust the most to carry the ball in running situations, you need a running back. I mean, the Steelers had a glaring need at running back last year, and at 24, Mark, what did they do?
They went and got a running back.
Well, Buffalo has a glaring need at running back, and at 25, what should they strongly consider doing?
They've got to consider it. Got to.
Now, they got a couple other issues. I know the secondary had played well, but boy, it doesn't play well against Kansas City.
No, they could use a corner. They actually need a little interior line help as well. It would put Green in play.
I mean, they have a high-priced safety who's in a bit of who's 31 years old, who is probably leaving after this year. Which is why I think the floor for Kyle Hamilton's Buffalo at 25. And I actually think, Mark, there's a chance that if he gets past Washington, the Notre Dame safety, that Buffalo maybe moves up aggressively to get him, because they know a year from now they're going to need a safety. But we don't do trades when we do this. We're just bringing up possibilities, things they'll be considering. But Buffalo at 25. You going to go Kenyon Green or the running back?
I think they need the guard to help the running back, if you know what I mean. I would go with the guard and fit a spot that's also of need. I'd take Green there.
And this would be an awful draft for the Bucs.
Yeah, the Bucs draft just got ruined in the last matter of seconds.
Which is why, and if you're Tampa Bay and you're sitting here, it's also, you could sit all night and the draft could be going great, but if Dallas and Buffalo go Zion Johnson, Kenyon Green, which is not out of the question. It really isn't. You're the Bucs, you're looking around, you're going, well, damn, we wanted one of those too. And that's why I believe Tampa Bay is going to be exploring Arizona at 23. And hey, what would it take to move up 4 spots? Pittsburgh might do it also because they don't have a ton of picks, but you got to give up a lot more to go from 27 to 20. And the Patriots, believe it or not, have a lot of middle round draft picks. They don't need to move down. Bill does it a lot, but he doesn't need to this year.
Tennessee would be on the clock before Tampa picks.
Name the bet. Desmond Ridder.
I'm writing this in because I'm actually afraid if I were to pick something else, what David might do.
I wouldn't let you. We've gone with your guy when it's been a 50-50 vote most of the time, but I am getting 51-49 on this one. Ridder is going to the Titans. Ridder and Fickle were in each other's weddings. Tennessee, after this year, can get rid of Tannehill. It's a $19 million cap hit. It's basically the Browns cap hit this year to get rid of Baker Mayfield. Tannehill's 34. And I think after the playoff performance, Tennessee knows, well, we're going to have to find a new quarterback here. Ridder's a younger version of Tannehill. Maybe not as good. Tannehill went 9th overall. But I'm telling you, Desmond Ridder's going to Tennessee. If that happens, though, Titans without a second-round pick, here they are thinking they're really close. They're a Super Bowl contender. They will get nothing out of this draft to help until the 3rd round. That's not ideal.
It's why I don't think Tennessee will there. I could see them trying to trade down a couple of spots to pick up a pick or two and then still thinking they're going to get their quarterback.
But if this draft plays out this way, first off, I think Tampa would trade out at 27. But since we don't trade out.
To me, it would be maybe the edge kid from Penn State.
It's funny. I was thinking the edge kid from Minnesota.
Flip a coin.
They don't need wide receivers. There's still Dotson, Pickens, and Watson on the board. I'll tell you what. I think they'd go Daxton Hill, safety, Michigan. The Bucs. If they're stuck at 27 and all the interior linemen are gone.
You know, that's a nice pick because he's rated a little higher than that. I think that's a nice, safe pick.
He's got speed.
And they need D-back help.
That's where I think they'd go. They lost a safety this year in free agency. Green Bay's would be on the clock. They took a receiver at 22. They could basically go best player on the board here. But you and I are both, I know what we're thinking, Green Bay. We're going to stash Ajabo.
How could you not? They think they're going deep into the postseason.
Right, and by then he'll be healthy.
I mean, if you need an edge rusher and you're sitting there at 28 and you think you're going deep, I'm taking Ajabo all day long. Part of me, Tampa, I would have done the same thing.
Interesting. I don't think Tampa can afford it because let's be honest, this is the last year with Brady and Gronk and Sue, and this is probably their last realistic shot at a Super Bowl for years.
But if they think he can play, if they, when they work him out medically and they talk to him and think, hey, you can play, I don't think it's outside. I don't think it's as outside of a chance as you do. That would give us Kansas City back-to-back picks.
And we won't make the picks right now, but we do need to point out the Chiefs have 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, and 2 4s. And Andy Reid loves to move on draft day. And usually he moves up. Just keep that in mind with the Chiefs tonight. Miller and Moulton. And then you got Cincinnati, who never moves at 31.
Who never moves. And Detroit, if they're not going to take a quarterback, would be taking all phone calls for someone to take pick 32 from.
Well, just imagine if this draft were to go remotely like this. We're 4 picks left in the first round. Only 1 quarterback's been taken.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth. that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. All right, what are we doing for Kansas City, though? First, we got both Kansas City picks.
Well,
They take a receiver with one of them.
right.
You know what? You got to pencil in the North Dakota State kid. If they're replacing Hill, right?
Right. So we'll go Christian Watson.
Watson with one. And then would they take the Penn State kid?
What's interesting is the Penn
Or
State
one of the edge kids, Logan Hall from Houston? The kid from Minnesota?
I like Logan Hall from Houston because they got a Kenny Clark problem.
Right. All right, that gets us to Cincinnati.
Now, I like a corner here who most people have in the second round. But because the best corners we got the second one from Washington, Kyler Gordon. We got Andrew Booth from Clemson. I like Roger McCreary from Auburn. He went toe-to-toe first with Jameson, and then when Jameson got tossed, Mechie all day in that Iron Bowl and was amazing.
All right. I'll give you McCreary, Auburn.
And then you can have the Lions. You gonna pick him a quarterback?
Malik Willis.
Look at you!
I mean, come on.
Look at
Come
you!
on now.
Look at you! That's just dirty. That's filthy. That is draft porn right there.
Report: Chris Middleton likely out for round 2 series against Boston.
Huh?
Chris Middleton likely will sit out for the round 2 series against Boston.
A whole series.
He has a grade 2 MCL sprain.
Yeah,
That's a problem.
That is a problem. That is a problem. Boston, man.
Let me tell you, the NBA would love a Philly, Boston, Miami, Boston. They would love.
That would be good for ratings.
NBA is doing really well.
What would do better, Philly, Boston, or Miami, Boston?
You're not going to like this.
Philly, Boston.
Yeah.
It's the more classic rivalry.
Bingo.
It's the more classic NBA rivalry.
The other thing is Philly's a bigger city than Miami.
Not
Also-
by much.
Boo.
Yeah, not by much. No, not by much.
Boo.
But also, it's a better sports market. Like,
Way better.
more people in Philly watch sports than people in Miami.
Yes.
Better fans. Better.
No. It's not, but just a more. It's a more blue collar town,
and they have better fans.
Well, every town has better fans in Miami.
Exactly.
Tell you what, though, boy, oh boy, you could have Iverson, Barkley, Dr. J, all coming back for those games. Oh,
Damn. Wait. No. Eastern Conference Finals is on ESPN this year.
yeah, there may be an off day where Barkley could fly up from Atlanta. He still lives, he still
PA?
spends a decent amount of time in that area.
Really? I don't know. A Heat Warriors Finals, though.
Yeah, I think the league would want a Celtics Warriors final.
Yeah, we talked about this, but Heat Warriors is finger looking good.
The NBA just wants a Warriors final.
Yeah, really. I hate the Warriors so much. They're so good.
I have to admit, I don't know how you can hate the Warriors. When KD chose them, okay, I mean, you could have held it against KD, but you can't blame the Warriors. All right, honestly,
yeah, I'm sorry, we don't want the best player in the world to play on our team.
No, I know.
No, please don't come join us.
This isn't right.
Is a terrible idea.
I know.
It's unfair to the rest of the league.
I know, but for example, when they had
no,
KD,
I don't want that extra pound of stone crab. Why don't we give it to someone else?
Listen, when they had, and I only have 15 seconds. When they had KD, it was. I need more than 15 seconds.
Miami's bought every title they've had.
I was going to say
every title.
We traded for Shaq. We drafted D-Wade.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Home stretch of Miller and Moulton, the bonus hour. Thanks for being with us, Florida Sports Network. We'll be a little sleep deprived tomorrow. Please join us tonight. 7:45 is when our draft coverage begins on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. And please, whatever you do, follow us once you get there. Just follow us. I want Mark to lose this bet fair and square. Follow us. I'm lobbying for Mark's side of the bet.
I should hope so. It's the Miller and Moulton channel, for the love of everything holy.
Whatever. I don't promote our own poll questions. Why would I promote the show?
Smash that follow button. That's all I'm saying.
If you're just joining us, we did a mock draft and, a little this, little that. And we've got 4 picks left in our mock draft. The Chiefs at 29 and 30, the Bengals at 31, and the Lions at 32. We didn't allow for any trades. This is who we would pick, not who experts are saying they're going to pick and what have you.
So for the Chiefs, we took Logan Hall, the edge rusher out of Houston. And then, in really no particular order, because I have 2, and Christian Watson, who's the fastest wide receiver in the draft.
So here we are with 2 picks left in the draft. We've had no running backs taken. We've had no tight ends taken. And we've only had 1 quarterback taken, and that was Ritter to Tennessee at 26, which gets us to the Bengals at 31. And their most desirable interior offensive lineman options are pretty much gone. Now, I will say, did we take Tyler Smith from Tulsa? I don't think we did.
No, we did not.
And we didn't take Raymond, the tackle from Central Michigan. I think the Bengals would seriously consider Smith or Raymond here, but they got an Eli Apple problem. So I think it would come down to, do they go tackle? Because Smith and Raymond, at least in college, they were tackles.
Right.
Or do they go corner here? And we decided corner.
And I deferred to David, who went Roger McCreary from Auburn based on the way he played against the Alabama receivers.
He was amazing, and he was man-to-man for 80 snaps. He was awesome. Mechie beat him on the final play of the game for the touchdown with just a ridiculous move. But Roger McCreary, to me, and with the way the Bengals like to play defensively, I thought he's perfect. There's a couple of corners who have been talked about more than him who were still left in our draft. Andrew Booth at Clemson, Kyler Gordon. All right. From Washington, there's 2 corners from Washington that are likely to go in the top 40 or so picks of this draft. But we had 4 corners already off the board. Mark let me make the selection for the Bengals, and I went Roger McCreary at 31, so he's got the call for the Lions at 32.
With the final pick in the first round of the 2022 draft, the Detroit Lions select Malik Willis, quarterback, Liberty.
Woo-wee! That is sexy right there.
It's a reason to stay up till 11:30 right there.
That is draft porn right there. That is Ozzie trading back in for his final first-round pick and taking Lamar at 32.
You know, I realize right now that I had a better poll question than the ones up for the show today.
Well, we realize that a lot.
And we could use this tomorrow. I'm just going to throw it at you right now.
Okay.
What would you rather be? The first overall pick in the National Football League or the first overall pick in the association?
Huh.
There's one right answer to that question.
You're damn right, and it's the association.
It's the association.
The money that comes with that pick.
Yep.
All day long.
15 guys on a team versus 53. Come on now.
But I think the NFL would win in our vote because we have just so many more football fans. But I thought of that question yesterday. It just kind of dawned on me, 4 hours almost into the show today.
So Kenny Pickett did not go in our very casual mock draft. No running back went. No tight end went. Very few linebackers went. Nakobe Dean didn't go. Jackson from USC didn't go. I don't even think, did Walker from the other Georgia linebacker go?
No.
I don't think he did. I think Devin Lloyd from Utah, right, was the only linebacker?
Correct.
So, I have no idea if this is how it'll go. Probably won't go this way, especially since we didn't allow for any trades. And officially, again, the bet is an over-under of 1.5 of teams
that trade back into the first round that do not have a draft pick.
So that would be 2 or more of the Bears, Broncos, Browns, Dolphins. It won't be Dolphins. They don't have the ammunition unless they're giving up next year's picks. Raiders, Niners, Rams, Colts. 1.5. Will 2 or more of those trade back into the first round?
And I don't think you need to go much more than 2.5 for total first round trades.
I will go way over on 2.5.
You go way over on 4.5 then, the way you're shouting?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'll take the over on 4.5.
Whoop.
I will back up the truck on over 2.5 trades, but I will go over 4.5 trades.
I like it. It'll make it a lot more interesting tonight. Remember, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. We will be on the air at 7:45 tonight. No word as to when I will switch to bourbon yet.
You know what? That's a great over-under right there.
Pick 19.5.
Over, but not much. All right. I think it's when the Packers get on the clock at 22. That's when Mark switches to the Browns stuff. All right. Let's make it quick.
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul, to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When.
I don't have a whole lot going on today. I know you always back me up, but I've got Maryland in 1788 being just the 7th state to ratify the Constitution. A year later was when Mutiny on the Bounty actually took place in the South Pacific.
Not the movie.
Not the Marlon Brando Mutiny on the Bounty in, I think, 62 or whenever it was made. But no, 1789 was actually when it took place in the South Pacific. 99 years ago today, Wembley Stadium opened up. What do you think its first event was?
Soccer.
FA Cup, West Ham against Bolton Wanderers. The Wanderers.
Huh.
But West Ham.
They get around.
It was on this day in 1956, Frank Robinson hit the first of what would be his 586 career home runs. That's an underrated player, by the way. MVP in both leagues. 586 home runs, Frank Robinson. That's a very underrated player.
Someone put that in our Twitch chat. We were talking about Gary Player being the most underrated golfer. He's like, Frank Robinson's the most underrated player of all time, period. End of sentence.
It's possible, although I'd still argue it's Hank Aaron, but that's a whole... If you took away his home runs, he still had more hits than Wade Boggs. I'll make the case for Hank. Mark, 61 years ago today, Warren Spahn threw his second no-hitter. That's pretty impressive. He was 41 when he did it. Pretty historic day today. 55 years ago, Ali refused induction into the Army and was stripped of his boxing titles. 2.5-year fight he won in the Supreme Court. Charles de Gaulle resigned as president of France on this day in 69. He had been the leader of France for over a quarter century there.
So it was about time.
Well, yeah, I didn't say he was a good leader, but they liked him. 75, Mark, Ringo Starr appeared on the Smother Brothers on the same day that John Lennon appeared on Tomorrow. That was the show after The Tonight Show on NBC for the longest time. It was an interview show with Tom Snyder.
Smoking darts, one after another for the entire show.
And Tomorrow got replaced by David Letterman.
And when Letterman moved to 11, he brought Snyder back on CBS at 12:30 for a brief time.
He felt badly about it. Letterman liked Tom Snyder, and Billy Martin was named Yankee manager today in 1985 for the 4th time. This was right after George fired Yogi. Yogi managed in 84 and 16, 18 games, something in 85. And when George fired him, Yogi said, "I'll never be back." And George had to get down on his knees to Yogi because Yogi never came back. All those old timers games, all those times that they honor former players, and he never came back. And he would show up at Mets games because he was the former manager of the Mets and took him to the World Series. And Steinbrenner, when they got really good in the late 90s, and they were going to the World Series in 96, and Yogi wouldn't come back, and Steinbrenner got down on bended knee publicly and privately. And Yogi went, "Oh, okay. I just said if you'd apologize, I'd come back. What took you so long?" Historic day today, Felipe. In 1987, it was 35 years ago today, the NBA announced that we're going to expand Charlotte and Miami. And the following year, we'll go Minneapolis and Orlando. Big day today in NBA history. Vinny Testaverde also went first overall to the Bucs. Orioles lost their 21st straight game today in 88. Dale Hunter's cheap shot on Pierre Turgeon was 29 years ago today. Jamarcus Russell went first overall 15 years ago today. Cam Newton went first overall 11 years ago today. And Jared Goff went first overall 6 years ago today. A lot of birthdays. James Monroe, Lionel Barrymore, Oscar Schindler. Yes, that's Schindler. Harper Lee, who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. And Bruno Kirby, all born on this day, no longer with us. Jay Leno's 72, Hal Sutton 64. Be the right club today. Supreme Court Justice Elena Kagan is 62, as is Tom Browning, who threw a perfect game. Barry Larkin's 58. John Daly's 56. Pete Stoyanovich, who missed a really big kick against the Chargers in a playoff game, is 55. One of the 10 greatest defensemen of all time, Nicholas Lidstrom's 52. Bridget Moynihan's 50.
Still give you a good 16 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Never mind on the power play. Hell. Bridget Moynihan's 51, Penelope Cruz is 48, and Jessica Alba's 41. Those are three beautiful women there. Denzel Ward's 25, and that was Today Was the Day.
All right, one quick thing. Today in 73, Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd hits number 1 on the album chart. It would stay at number 1 for just 1 week, but would stay on the chart for 880 weeks.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Go to Wyoming for the good, where the Powell Panthers varsity boys soccer team was coming back and noticed that falling rocks had closed the road. The players jumped into action, cleared the rock slide so cars could move through. A little extra effort there. For the bad, we go to Pennsylvania, where David, a truck carrying 40,000 pounds of chicken nuggets, crashed all over the roadway.
Oh, my goodness!
Oh, it's a travesty.
If you're right behind them, is there like a 5-7 second rule that you can claim?
Minute rule.
Oh, darn. That's right. Damn.
And finally, the ugly. We go to Tropicana. Not Tropicana Field, Tropicana Orange Juice, who now says they have a new product made for cereal with orange juice. Tropicana Crunch. It made me nearly vomit in my mouth reading it.
Oh, boy.
Just quickly, your thoughts on an orange juice-based cereal?
No.
Thank you.
No.
Pulp, no pulp, no. I'm just kidding.
Nope.
I actually like pulp in my orange juice.
I do too. You know what I don't like it in? My cereal.
Yeah.
And that's the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, April 28th, Draft Day 2022.
Draft is at 8 o'clock tonight. ABC, ESPN, and NFL Network, I believe, are the 3 television networks for the draft. 3 NBA playoff games tonight. Toronto, New Orleans, and Utah, all at home, all trailing 3-2, and all slight underdogs. Pelicans are getting 2, Raptors getting 1.5, Utah's getting a point. I'm taking all 3 road favorites. Lightning are in Columbus, Panthers are in Ottawa. Only 2 night games in baseball. There's like 10-day baseball games, including both the Marlins and the Rays. Marlins in Washington, Rays hosting Seattle.
Get a nap.
Oh, I will. And I have to go on a beer food run.
Yeah, I've got someone coming to the house to fix something. That's my only. I'm imagining they'll show up right as I start going for the nap.
And today's my last day, and then it's on to a shape up. So this is it.
Again, shape up number 6.0.
Listen, I have not tried a shape up in a couple years, honestly. Like
I know.
I just put it aside. Well, but some people, you know.
But I'm just saying lifetime. You and I mean, it's at least 6, 7, 8.0.
16, 17, 18.0.
Since you and I have known each other.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But so this is it.
Uh-huh.
This is it. And then I got to go on I might even do like a cleanse or something, a fast. Yeah.
Oh, you should be a joy to be around next week.
Come on, I'll be good in the morning. I'll be off. My wife, I'll be awful afternoons and evenings. I'll be good in the morning. I'll be fine. You know, I drink 19 waters. I'll be good. About 4 in the afternoon. Holy mackerel.
7:45 tonight, Twitch TV. See you there.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy